ఎఫ్ఎంలో హైదరాబాద్ ఏలో 2 రాష్ట్రాలు
మీరు వచ్చేసిన తర్వాత మీరు ఎక్కడ బయటకు చేస్తారు
యూట్యూబ్ ఛానల్ ఏఆర్ హైదరాబాద్ యూట్యూబ్ ఛానల్
ఓన్లీ అంతే ఎఫ్ఎం ఇన్స్టాగ్రామ్
ఉంటాయి ఆ తర్వాత
ఫేస్బుక్ లేదు హరి
జస్ట్ పేరు మాత్రం చెప్పేస్తాను అవసరం ఉంది
తెలుగు ఇంగ్లీష్ because it is live on Hyderabad FM Rainbow YouTube channel and both the states are taking live from here.
Oh, very good.
So, okay, balance Telugu English.
Got it. Sure. We'll follow you. మిస్ అయిందంటే ఎవడే కదా ఇది షూరా ఇది రావట్లేదు కదా ఇది మాత్రమేనా ఫస్ట్ సెషన్ అని చెప్పేస్తే అయిపోతుంది అదంతా మీరు చెప్పండి నా ప్రస్తావన నేను చేయట్లేదు అంతే బస్ ఓకే టైం ఒక 2 నిమిషాలు
గౌరవ అతిథులకు మా ప్రియమైన ఆకాశవాణి శ్రోతలకు శుభోదయం, శుభస్వాగతం. ముందుగా నేషనల్ సైన్స్ డే శుభాకాంక్షలందరికీ. మానవుడే మహనీయుడు అనేటువంటి ఒక సినిమా పాట అందరికీ గుర్తుండే ఉంటుంది. మానవుడి శక్తి యుక్తి గురించి ప్రశంసిస్తూ సాగినటువంటి ఆ పాట ఆకాశవాణిలో ఎప్పుడూ మారుమోగుతూ ఉంటుంది. ఈరోజు మనం జరుపుకుంటున్నటువంటి ఈ సైన్స్ డేకి ఆ పాట సరిగ్గా సరిపోతుంది. ఎందుకు మానవుడు మహనీయుడు అన్నది ఈరోజు ఇక్కడ మనం ఏర్పాటు చేసుకుంటున్న ప్రాంగణం, ముఖ్యంగా బిర్లా సైన్స్ సెంటర్లో ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని ఆర్గనైజ్ చేసినటువంటి భాస్కర ఇండోర్ ఆడిటోరియం, ఈ ప్రాంగణం ముఖ్యంగా సైన్స్ అండ్ టెక్నాలజీకి ఆలవాలం. సో ఈరోజు ఈ కార్యక్రమం ఇన్స్పైర్ అనేటువంటి ఒక నినాదంతో ఆకాశవాణి నిర్వహిస్తున్నటువంటి కార్యక్రమం. ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో విశిష్ట అతిథులు పాల్గొనడం కోసం విచ్చేశారు. వారందరికీ కూడా ఆకాశవాణి తరఫున ప్రత్యేకంగా ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేసుకుంటూ స్వాగతం అంటున్నాం. ఈరోజు ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో విశిష్ట అతిథుల నామధేయాలు మాత్రమే గుర్తు చేస్తాను. ఆ తర్వాత ఆ కార్యక్రమం మొదలైనప్పుడు వారి గురించి ప్రస్తావిస్తూ వారు ఇచ్చేటువంటి వివరణ కూడా మీరు వింటారు. ఈరోజు ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో మొదటి అర్ధభాగంలో సైన్స్ పర్యావరణ అంశాల రచయిత డాక్టర్ నాగసూరి వేణుగోపాల్ గారు, అలాగే ప్రిన్సిపల్ చీఫ్ కన్జర్వేటర్ ఆఫ్ ఫారెస్ట్ రిటైర్డ్ శ్రీ పి రఘువీర్ ఐఎఫ్ఎస్ గారు, అలాగే డాక్టర్ వి శేషగిరిరావు గారు, మీరు డిస్టింగ్విష్డ్ సైంటిస్ట్, ఇంకా సీనియర్ ప్రిన్సిపల్ సైంటిస్ట్ డాక్టర్ ప్రతిమా ఎస్ మైంకర్ గారు, అలాగే డాక్టర్ సివిఎస్ కిరణ్ గారు, ఇంకా యంగ్ అంబాసిడర్ మిస్టర్ తేజ బేగరే. వీరందరూ కూడా ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో మొదటి అర్ధభాగంలో పాల్గొంటున్నటువంటి విశిష్ట అతిథులు. వారందరికీ మరోసారి స్వాగతం ఆకాశవాణి తరఫున.
Namaskaram and good morning to each one of you, and we welcome you to Inspire National Science Day celebrations organized by All India Radio Hyderabad. National Science Day is celebrated every year to commemorate the great discovery of the Raman effect by India's greatest scientist C.V. Raman. He discovered this effect on February 28, that is this very day, in the year 1928, which made him win the Nobel Prize in 1930 and also the highest civilian award from the Government of India, which is Bharat Ratna. It is an occasion to celebrate the achievements of the scientific community and to reflect on the incredible impact that science has had on our lives. And global science for global well-being. That is the theme for this year. As India enters 2023, the theme indicates the country's emerging global role and rising visibility in the international arena. We have eminent and prominent scientists, professors, and researchers with us today to share their valuable opinion and experience with us on this day. So, happy Science Day to everybody, and we welcome you on behalf of All India Radio Hyderabad.
ఈరోజు ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని ప్రారంభిస్తూ ఆకాశవాణి హైదరాబాద్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ హెడ్ వి ఉదయశంకర్ గారిని ఆహ్వానిస్తున్నాం. వారి స్వాగతోపన్యాసంతో ఈ కార్యక్రమం ప్రారంభం కానుంది.
We will now have the welcome address by Shri V. Uday Shankar Garu, who is the program head of All India Radio Hyderabad. We welcome you, sir.
స్వాగతోపన్యాసం ప్రారంభానికంటే ముందు ఈ మొదటి అర్ధభాగంలో ఉన్నటువంటి విశిష్ట అతిథుల్ని వేదిక మీదకి ఆహ్వానిస్తున్నాం. దయచేసి వారందరూ వేదిక మీదకి రావాల్సిందిగా కోరుతున్నాం. ముందుగా డాక్టర్ నాగసూరి వేణుగోపాల్ గారు, అలాగే పి రఘువీర్ గారు ఐఎఫ్ఎస్,
సో ఏమి అనుకోకుండా ఆకాశవాణి తరఫున మా విజ్ఞప్తి ఏంటంటే మీరందరూ కూడాను గంట 2 గంటలు కూడా అనర్గళంగా మాట్లాడగలుగుతారు. అవర్ రిక్వెస్ట్ ఇస్ దట్ వీ విల్ just confine to a small duration, and we will all imbibe the spirit of science. And thank you all, particularly all the scientists of Hyderabad that who have agreed and come participating in this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Udashankar sir, for the wonderful welcome address. We would now invite Dr. Nagasuri Venugopal sir, an eminent science and environment writer, and he's going to speak to us about science enduku emiti. What is science and what is it all about? We welcome you, sir.
మిత్రులందరికీ సైన్స్ డే శుభాకాంక్షలు. ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో పాల్గొంటున్న సోదర ఎక్స్పర్ట్స్కి, అలాగే ఈ ఆడిటోరియంలో అటెండ్ అయిన మిత్రులకు, ఆకాశవాణి ప్రసారాలు వింటున్న మా శ్రోతలకు, అలాగే యూట్యూబ్ ద్వారా వీక్షిస్తున్న మా అభిమానులకి అందరికీ ఆహ్వానం, మరోసారి శుభాకాంక్షలు. సైన్సు, లిటరసీ, సైన్స్ డే, ఇలా ప్రత్యేక సందర్భాలు మానవాళికి ఎందుకు అవసరం అవుతూ ఉంటాయి. ఇది నేషనల్ సైన్స్ డే, అలాగే వరల్డ్ సైన్స్ డే ఉంది, సైన్స్ వీక్ ఉంది, అలాగే హెల్త్ డే ఉంది, ఓజోన్ డే ఉంది, ఇలాగ చాలా ఉన్నాయి. ఎందుకు అవసరము అని మనం ఖచ్చితంగా ఆలోచన చేయాల్సిన అగత్యం ఉంది. ఎందుకంటే ఇక్కడ 2 ప్రధానమైన సంస్థలు ఇన్వాల్వ్ అయినాయి. ఈ వేదిక బిర్లా సైన్స్ ప్లానెటోరియం 1985లో ఈ ఆడిటోరియం, ఈ ప్లానెటోరియం అన్నీ వచ్చాయి. మన హైదరాబాద్లో జనసామాన్యాన్ని విజ్ఞానవంతం చేస్తున్నాయి. దాదాపు 95 ఏళ్ళుగా రేడియో ఒక వర్గీకృతమైన ప్రసారాలని, దూరదర్శన్, AIR ఇటువంటి సేవల ద్వారా భారతదేశంలో రేడియో విస్తరించింది. ఇటీవల కాలంలో అది మరింత పరివ్యాప్తం అయింది ఆధునిక టెక్నాలజీలో. అయినా కూడా మనం ఎందుకు ఇటువంటి సందర్భాలని మనం పురస్కరించుకొని మాట్లాడుకుంటున్నాం, చర్చిస్తున్నాం. 1888లో జన్మించిన సివి రామన్ కేవలం 40 ఏళ్ల వయసులో ఆయన రామన్ ఎఫెక్ట్ సాధించడం. ఇదివరకే మనం అనుకున్నట్టు 1928 ఫిబ్రవరి 28న ఆయన రామన్ ఎఫెక్ట్, దాన్ని తెలుగులో రామన్ ఫలితం అంటాం, దాన్ని ఆయన ఆవిష్కరించారు. ప్రత్యేకత ఏంటంటే సివి రామన్ ఈ రామన్ ఫలితం సాధించిన 2 ఏళ్ళకి నోబెల్ బహుమతి రావడం. ఇది చిన్న విషయం కాదు. నోబెల్ బహుమతి పరిశోధన జరిగిన 2 ఇయర్స్కే రావడం అనేది చాలా అపురూపమైన విషయం. ఆయన 42 ఏళ్ళకే నోబెల్ లారెట్ అయ్యాడు. అదే ఆయన సమీప బంధువు చంద్రశేఖర్ అయ్యర్ కుమారుడు, వాళ్ళ అన్న కుమారుడు సుబ్రహ్మణ్య చంద్రశేఖర్ 33లో రీసెర్చ్ చేస్తే 83లో ఆయనకు నోబెల్ ప్రైజ్ వచ్చింది. ఎందుకంటే ఇది సివి రామన్ సాధించిన ఫలితం యొక్క ప్రాముఖ్యత. అందుకని రామన్ స్పెక్ట్రోస్కోపీ అనే ఒక విభాగంలోనే పెద్ద పరిశోధన జరిగింది. అందుకనే ఈ సైన్స్ గురించి మనం మాట్లాడుకుంటున్నాం. సైన్స్ ఎప్పుడు మొదలైంది, ఎందుకు మొదలైంది అని మనం ఆలోచన చేస్తే, ఆదిమ మానవుడు రాళ్లను సంకేతాలుగా వాడడం, బాణాలు వాడడం, ఇటువంటి దశ నుంచి ఒక చక్రాన్ని వాడడం అనే దశకు రావడం, తర్వాత అది టెక్నాలజీగా ఇప్పుడు మనం చెప్పుకుంటున్న దశకు వచ్చింది. నిజానికి ఆ విషయాలు చూస్తే క్రీస్తు పూర్వం 200 సంవత్సరాలు, 2000 సంవత్సరాలు ఇలా కేవలం ఈ పరిధిలోనే సైన్సు బాగా వ్యాప్తి చెందింది. మరీ ముఖ్యంగా మోడర్న్ సైన్స్గానే చెప్పబడే సైన్సు 14వ శతాబ్దం నుంచే మనకు కనబడుతుంది. అయితే ఇన్ని విషయాలు మాట్లాడుకుంటున్నప్పుడు తొలి దశలో మనకు సూర్యుడు పలానా దిక్కునే ఎందుకు ఉదయిస్తాడు, పలానా సందర్భంలోనే వర్షం వస్తుంది, గాలి వీస్తుంది, చంద్రుడు ఉదయిస్తాడు లేదా సూర్యుడు అస్తమిస్తాడు అనే విషయాలు మొదట ఆసక్తి కలిపింది కేవలం సైన్స్ మాత్రమే. ఈ పరిశీలన, ఆ సూత్రీకరణ ద్వారా సైన్స్ అనేది అభివృద్ధి చెందింది. కేవలం ఆ దృష్టితోనే మనం ముందుకు సాగుతున్నాం. అది న్యూటన్ కావచ్చు, గెలీలియో కావచ్చు, లేదా ఐన్స్టీన్ కావచ్చు, లేదా స్టీఫెన్ హాకింగ్ కావచ్చు, ఫ్రైడ్ కావచ్చు, డార్విన్ కావచ్చు, ఇలాంటి మహామహులు చాలా విషయాలు మనకు కనుక్కున్నారు. వీరు మాత్రమే కాకుండా భారతదేశం సంబంధించి అయితే ఆర్యభట్ట, వరాహమిహిరుడు, భాస్కరుడు, కణాదుడు, చరకుడు, సుశ్రుతుడు ఇలాంటి పెద్ద పెద్ద గొప్ప గొప్ప శాస్త్రవేత్తలు మనకు కనబడతారు. అయితే ఇన్ని చెప్పినా, వీళ్ళ ఆవిష్కరణలు మనం ఇన్ని చూస్తున్నా ఇప్పటికీ మనం తెలుసుకోవాల్సిన విషయాలు చాలా ఉన్నాయి. మరీ ముఖ్యంగా మనకు ఇటీవల దాపురించిన కరోనా సందర్భంలో మన సైన్సు ఎంత పరిమితమైంది, మన టెక్నాలజీ ఎంత పరిమితమైంది అని కూడా మనకు బోధపడింది. మనం తయారు చేసుకునే విమానాలు కావచ్చు, కార్లు కావచ్చు, మరోటి కావచ్చు, వీటిని మనం విసర్జించి జీవితం గడపాల్సిన పరిస్థితి ఏర్పడింది. ఇది ఒక నేపథ్యం అయితే, రెండవ ప్రపంచ యుద్ధం అప్పటికి అణుబాంబులు తయారు కావడం, దాని తర్వాత వినాశనం విపరీతంగా ఉండడం, తద్వారా పర్యావరణం అనే కాన్సెప్ట్ గురించి, పర్యావరణం అనే ప్రాముఖ్యత గురించి మనకు ఆలోచన బయలుదేరడం. 1972లో మనం మొట్టమొదటిసారిగా ప్రపంచవ్యాప్తంగా పర్యావరణ సదస్సు జరుపుకోవడం, ఆ సందర్భాన్ని ఇప్పటికీ పర్యావరణ దినోత్సవంగా జూన్ 5వ తేదీ మనం చేసుకుంటున్నాం. వీటన్నిటికీ కారణం ఏంటంటే సైన్స్ని ఎట్లా ఉపయోగించాలి, ఎందుకు ఉపయోగించాలి అనే అవగాహన పెంపొందించడానికే. ఇదివరకే అనుకున్నట్టు ఈ సంవత్సరం అంటే ప్రతి సంవత్సరం సైన్స్ డేకి ఒక ప్రత్యేకమైన ఇతివృత్తం, ఒక థీమ్తో కార్యక్రమాలు జరుగుతుంటాయి. ఆ థీమ్ ఎలా నిర్ణయిస్తారంటే ఆ క్షణంలో ఆ సమాజానికి అవసరమైన ఆస్పెక్ట్ని కీలకంగా తీసుకొని కార్యక్రమాలు, ప్రణాళికలు జరుగుతూ ఉంటాయి. అందులో భాగంగానే ఈ సంవత్సరం గ్లోబల్ సైన్స్ ఫర్ గ్లోబల్ వెల్ బీయింగ్ అంటే ప్రపంచ శ్రేయస్సు దృష్టిగానే ఈ కార్యక్రమాలు జరుగుతాయి. అంతేగాని దేశం, ప్రాంతం, కులం లేదా ఖండం అనే పద్ధతిలో కాకుండా సర్వ ప్రపంచ మానవాళికి ఉపయోగపడే రీతిలో, వినాశనానికి దారితీయని పద్ధతిలో ఈ సైన్స్ వినియోగం చాలా చాలా అవసరం. అందుకనే ఈ విషయాల గురించి మనం పదే పదే చెప్పుకోవడానికి మనం ఒక మాట అంటూ ఉంటాం, సైన్స్ లిటరసీ అని. సైన్స్ లిటరసీ అంటే ఏంటి, దాని పరిమితి ఏంటి, పరిధి ఏంటి, ఆ పరిధి క్రమంగా ఎలా మారుతూ ఉంది అనేది ఎప్పటికప్పుడు చర్చనీయాంశం. కరోనా రాక పూర్వం సైన్స్ లిటరసీ డెఫినేషన్ వేరు కావచ్చు, అయితే తర్వాత ఆ డెఫినేషన్ ఇంకో రకంగా ఉంది. దానికి తగ్గట్టుగానే మన జీవన విధానాలు, మన ఆలోచన సరళి మార్చుకోవాల్సిన అగత్యం చాలా చాలా ఉంది. అందుకని ఈ పద్ధతిలో మనకు చాలా ప్రయత్నాలు కనబడతాయి. ఆకాశవాణి ప్రధానంగా సైన్స్ ప్రసారాలని చేస్తోంది. ఎన్సిఎస్టిసి అంటే ఏ సంస్థ అయితే 1986లో ప్రతిపాదించిన విషయాన్ని అధికారికంగా గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియాతో స్వీకరింపజేసి 1987 నుంచి ఈ సైన్స్ డే కార్యక్రమాలని చేస్తుంది. 1988 అంటే సివి రామన్ శత జయంతి సంవత్సరం, ఆ సంవత్సరం నుంచి ఈ సైన్స్ డే కార్యక్రమాలు భారీ ఎత్తున జరుగుతున్నాయి. ఇక్కడ సైన్స్ ఎన్సిఎస్టిసి చాలా రకాల కార్యక్రమాలు చేస్తున్నాయి. మా సోదరులు ఉదయ్ శంకర్ ఇటీవల చెప్పారు తన ఇంట్రొడక్షన్లో విజ్ఞాన్ ప్రసార్ అని. ఆ విజ్ఞాన్ ప్రసార్ కూడా ఎన్సిఎస్టిసి అనుబంధ సంస్థ. ఇక్కడ ఒక్క విషయం మనం గమనించాలి, భారత రాజ్యాంగం కూడా సైన్స్ స్ఫూర్తి, సైన్స్ దృష్టి అంటే కులము, మతము, ప్రాంతము, భాష ఇటువంటి దృష్టితో కాకుండా మానవ విజ్ఞానాన్ని మానవ శ్రేయస్సుకే వినియోగించుకోవాలి అనే దృష్టితో, దీనికి మనం సైన్స్ని సాధారణ భాషలో సామాన్యులకు అర్థమయ్యే భాషలో చెప్పాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంది. అందులో కూడా సివి రామన్ గారు అందవేసిన చెయ్యి. ఆయన ఆకాశవాణిలో చేసిన ప్రసంగాలు మనకు విశా అప్పారావు గారు తెలుగులో అనువాదం చేసి చాలా కాలం క్రితమే అందుబాటులో ఉన్నాయి. అది ఆంధ్ర యూనివర్సిటీ పబ్లిష్ చేసింది కూడా. అలాగే ఆస్పెక్ట్స్ ఆఫ్ సైన్స్ అనే ఆయన ప్రసంగాల్ని న్యూయార్క్ నుంచి వెలువడే ఫిలసాఫికల్ సైన్సెస్ సంస్థ పబ్లిష్ చేసింది. ఎవరిది? సివి రామన్ గారు రాసింది. ఆయన చాలా చిన్న వయసులో నోబెల్ బహుమతి సంపాదించడం, తర్వాత టాటా ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్లో పనిచేయడం, స్వతంత్రం రాగానే తన రామన్ రీసెర్చ్ ల్యాబొరేటరీ ఆయన రామన్ రీసెర్చ్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ ఆయన 1948లో ప్రారంభించారు. ఆయనకి సైన్స్ అంటే చాలా గౌరవం, సమాజం అంటే చాలా గౌరవం. ఇక్కడ పిల్లలు ఉన్నారు, ఇక్కడ దీనికి సంబంధించి సివి రామన్ చెప్పేవాడు, గాంధీ విగ్రహం వీధిలో ఉండడం కన్నా వాళ్ళ సిలబస్లో గాంధీ ఫోటో కానీ గాంధీ ఐడియాలజీ కానీ ఉంటే మంచిది, ఎక్కువ ప్రభావవంతం అని ఆయన చెప్పడం మనం గమనించవచ్చు. ఈ పిల్లలు ఇక్కడ ఆడియన్స్లో ఉన్నారు కాబట్టి ఒక్క విషయం మాత్రం చెప్పి మనం సెలవు తీసుకుందాం. 1934లో బాంబే నుంచి ఒక అమ్మాయి అక్కడ బెంగళూరుకి వచ్చింది, అంటే సివి రామన్ దగ్గర రీసెర్చ్ చేయాలని. అయితే అప్పట్లో ఏంటంటే ఆడపిల్లలు పోస్ట్ గ్రాడ్యుయేషన్ చేసే అవకాశం లేదు. అదే మాట సివి రామన్ గారు చెప్పారు. చెబితే అమ్మాయి ఏమనలేదు. ఆయన అధికార కార్యాలయం ముందు అలా కూర్చుంది, అలా 3 రోజులు కూర్చుంది. అలా 3 రోజులు కూర్చోవడం అనేది గాంధీ ప్రపంచానికి పరిచయం చేసిన సత్యాగ్రహం. 3వ రోజు సివి రామన్ గారు ఆమెకు అడ్మిషన్ ఇవ్వడం, 34లో ఆమె అడ్మిషన్ సంపాదించి 36లో పోస్ట్ గ్రాడ్యుయేషన్ కంప్లీట్ చేసింది. ఆవిడే కమల సాహి. తర్వాత దేశవ్యాప్తంగా ఆడపిల్లలకి పోస్ట్ గ్రాడ్యుయేషన్లో అవకాశం కలిగింది. అందుకే కొంచెం జాగ్రత్తగా చూస్తే 1936లోనే మొట్టమొదటిసారి సివి రామన్ గారు వార్ధా వెళ్ళి ఆయన సతీ సమేతంగా లోకమ్మలతో సమేతంగా ఆయన వెళ్ళి గాంధీని కలవడం. గాంధీ 48లో హత్య అయిన తర్వాత తను 1970లో మరణించేదాకా ప్రతి సంవత్సరం గాంధీ స్మారక ప్రసంగం సివి రామన్ గారు చేశారు. అయితే సివి రామన్ రీసెర్చ్ మనకు తెలుస్తుంది, కానీ సివి రామన్కి ఇంత సామాజిక దృష్టి ఉందని కానీ సామాజిక స్పృహ ఉందని కానీ మనకు తెలియకపోవడం ఓ రకంగా బాధాకరమే. అయితే ఇక్కడ ఇంకో విషయం ఏంటంటే ఆయన వాళ్ళ నాన్నగారు విశాఖపట్నంలో మిస్సెస్ ఏవెన్ కాలేజ్లో ఫిజికల్ సైన్స్ టీచ్ చేసే టీచరు. తను హై స్కూల్ అంతా విశాఖపట్నంలో నడిచింది. సో ఆ మేరకు సివి రామన్కు మనకు తెలుగు అనుబంధం ఉంది అని మనం గర్వపడవచ్చు. అలాగే జి కృష్ణ పుస్తకం చూస్తే సివి రామన్ తెలుగులో మాట్లాడగలడు అని కూడా మనకు బోధపడుతుంది. ఇటువంటి ఆసక్తికరమైన విషయాలు మనం సైన్స్ లక్ష్యం అంటే మొత్తం ప్రపంచానికి సైన్స్ అవసరం, సైన్స్ దృష్టి అవసరం, సైన్స్ కృషి అవసరం అనే దృష్టితోనే మనం తీసుకొని మనకు అవసరమైన రీతిలో ఆ ఇన్స్పిరేషను మనము గడించి ముందుకు వెళ్ళాల్సి ఉంటుంది. సైన్స్ అంటే వినాశనం కాదు, సైన్స్ అంటే నెగిటివ్ దృష్టి కాదు, సైన్స్ అంటే ప్రజాస్వామ్యం, ఒక ఆశావహమైన దృష్టి, పురోభివృద్ధి సాధించే దృష్టి. మీ అందరికీ ఆకాశవాణి శ్రోతలందరికీ మరోసారి సైన్స్ డే శుభాకాంక్షలు తెలియజేస్తూ సెలవు. నమస్తే.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్. ఆకాశవాణిలో సీనియర్ అధికారిగాను అలాగే రచయితగాను సుపరిచితులైన డాక్టర్ నాగసూరి వేణుగోపాల్ గారి వివరణ అది సైన్స్ గురించి. థ్యాంక్ యూ వన్స్ అగైన్ సార్ ఆకాశవాణి తరఫున. ఈ ప్రత్యేక కార్యక్రమం విభిన్న వేదికల నుంచి కూడా ప్రత్యక్ష ప్రసారంగా వెళుతోంది. ఆ సమాచారం కూడా ఆహుతులైనటువంటి అతిథులకు అలాగే ఇక్కడ విచ్చేసిన వారికి, వింటున్నటువంటి వారికి, చూస్తున్నటువంటి వారికి ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ కోసం ఆకాశవాణి హైదరాబాద్ ఏ కేంద్రం, అలాగే ఎఫ్ఎం రెయిన్బో 101.9, అలాగే తెలంగాణ, ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్లోని అన్ని ఆకాశవాణి కేంద్రాలు ఏఆర్ హైదరాబాద్ యూట్యూబ్ ఛానల్ నుంచి ఈ కార్యక్రమం ప్రత్యక్ష ప్రసారంగా వింటున్నారు, చూస్తున్నారు. సో మరోసారి అందరికీ శుభాకాంక్షలు. తరువాతి అతిథి ప్రిన్సిపల్ చీఫ్ కన్జర్వేటర్ ఆఫ్ ఫారెస్ట్ రిటైర్డ్ శ్రీ పి రఘువీర్ ఐఎఫ్ఎస్ గారు. వీరు ఇండివిజువల్ సోషల్ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ టువర్డ్స్ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ అనేటువంటి అంశం గురించి మనకు అవగాహన కల్పిస్తారు. వెల్కమ్ సార్.
థ్యాంక్ యూ. అండ్ అందరికీ సైన్స్ డే సందర్భంగా శుభాకాంక్షలు. ఐ రియలీ డోంట్ నో మీరు అందరూ ఎందుకు వచ్చారు ఈరోజు ఇక్కడికి, ఎస్పెషలీ స్కూల్ చిల్డ్రన్. మీ హెడ్ మాస్టర్ చెప్తే వచ్చారా, లేకపోతే ఏదో ఫ్రీ రైడ్ ఈరోజు క్లాసులు మానేసి ఇక్కడికి వచ్చి కూర్చుందామని హరికథ విని వెళ్ళడానికి వచ్చారా, లేదు కొత్త విషయాలు తెలుసుకుని ఏదైనా ఆచరిద్దామని వచ్చారా? ఆఫ్ ద స్టూడెంట్స్ నేర్చుకోవడానికి ఎంతమంది వచ్చారు? కొత్త విషయాలు చేతులు ఎత్తారా? ఓకే, వండర్ఫుల్. నేర్చుకుని ఏం చేస్తారు? చాలా నాలెడ్జ్ ఉంది కదా మీకు. ఇప్పుడు మేము చెప్పేవేం కొత్త విషయాలు కాదు. మీ సబ్జెక్ట్లో నేను 5th క్లాస్ నుంచి ఎన్వైరన్మెంట్ అనేది సబ్జెక్టు సుప్రీంకోర్టు జడ్జిమెంట్ ప్రకారం మన క్లాస్ కరికులంలో ఇంక్లూడ్ అయ్యి ఉంది. సో ఆఫ్టర్ learning all these, you all must have got A+ grade or 10/10 or whatever it is, environment subject. అందరూ బ్రహ్మాండమైన అకాడమిక్ క్వాలిఫికేషన్స్ ఉన్నారు. యాక్చువల్లీ మీరు వచ్చి ఇక్కడ మాట్లాడితే మాకంటే బాగా మాట్లాడతారు కూడా. క్లైమేట్ చేంజ్, గ్లోబల్ వార్మింగ్, గ్రీన్ హౌస్ గ్యాస్ ఇవన్నీ కూడాను మనకి చేతిలో ఉంటాయి. బికాజ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద కరికులం వేర్ యూ గెట్ మార్క్స్. బట్ ద థింగ్ ఈజ్, వాట్ అబౌట్ ది ఇంపాక్ట్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ అవేర్నెస్? సో యూ హ్యావ్ సో మచ్ ఆఫ్ అవేర్నెస్, రైట్? Are you translating at least part of that awareness into some specific actions? Awareness to action, that is the next step. Otherwise, people have a lot of knowledge. Absolutely not. Only problem ఏంటంటే translating that knowledge into action. So my discussion or today's discourse would be on ISR towards environment. You might have heard of CSR. Vinnara, what is CSR, ma'am? కార్పొరేట్ సోషల్ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ. వండర్ఫుల్, వీఆర్ ఆల్ ఫెమిలియర్ విత్ ఇట్. ఎందుకంటే కంపెనీ యాక్ట్ అమెండ్ అయిన తర్వాత crores of rupees, almost more than 1 lakh crore rupees were spent under CSR for various activities. Of course, environment is also part of that. But are we to wait for some companies to invest money to improve our environment, or can we do something? That's where ISR comes into picture, the individual social responsibility. And you all must be familiar, 2 months back, India took over the presidency of G20 nations. This entire year we are celebrating more than 200 such programs across the country. You know what is the sub-theme India has chosen? Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. It says one earth, one family and one future. See, we are all interconnected, we are not isolated, right? Whatever little actions we do here has got an impact elsewhere in the world. So for that, some little action has to start from our side. Now, I would like you to, because today is Science Day, it's more about innovation, creativity and things like that. I would like you to, at least the students, if you can explore the topic of biomimicry. I would suggest Google cheyandi biomimicry ani. You will get lot of resources. What is biomimicry? ఈ 3 బిలియన్ సంవత్సరాల మన నేచర్ నుంచి మనం ఏం నేర్చుకోవచ్చు? ద రీసెర్చ్ అండ్ డెవలప్మెంట్ దట్ హెస్ గాన్ ఇన్ టు ద ఫంక్షనింగ్ ఆఫ్ వేరియస్ క్రీచర్స్. ఒక ఇన్సెక్ట్ అనుకోవచ్చు, హనీబీ అనుకోవచ్చు, ఇంకోటి అనుకోవచ్చు. వాటి నుంచి మనం ఏం చేయగలము? ఒక probably climbing mountain, how they are able to do, surviving in desert, how the animals are able to do, lots of things we can learn. So I would like you to explore, especially if teachers are also there, I would request science teachers, please visit asknature.org website. Asknature.org website. It has got so much of resources that you ask any question, you will get an answer there, something like that. What we can learn from the nature, and then use that of knowledge for our betterment. ఓకే, ఈ మధ్యన మనకి పోయిన సంవత్సరం అనుకుంటాను ఒక 9th క్లాస్ అమ్మాయి, షీ వాజ్ కన్సర్న్డ్ అబౌట్ ది పాలిథీన్ బ్యాగ్స్ బీయింగ్ యూజ్డ్ ఫర్ ప్లాంట్స్. అంటే ప్లాంటింగ్ చేయాలంటే మనం పిట్ చేస్తాం, మీ స్కూల్స్లో కూడా పిట్టింగ్ చేసి ప్లాంట్స్ మొక్కలు పెట్టుకుంటారు హరితహారంలో. సో షీ ఫౌండ్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ ప్లాస్టిక్ బ్యాగ్స్ ఇన్ ద పిట్. So she said, no, this is not good. It is harming the environment. It is preventing water from getting percolating down. So let me do something. And so she also found that a lot of, she's from Gadwal, a lot of groundnut husk is available. And groundnut husk is a very good resource. Waste ka padestha untaru. So what she did was she tried to make a container out of these groundnut husk, which is a waste. And she succeeded, and her teachers also encouraged her. So today she has developed a prototype for making these almost 10,000 such pots for raising the plants. Aventante you don't have to tear like polythene bag. Straight away మొక్కను పెంచి నర్సరీ నుంచి డైరెక్ట్ పిట్లో పెట్టేయచ్చు. It will disintegrate on its own. It will also add to nutrition. So her name is Srija. She did this when she was in 9th class. And today she's an entrepreneur. She is probably CEO. She has taken a patent for that particular innovation. There are several such people. There was some student in Vijayanagaram who did this something like a stick. Normally రైతులు పొలాలకు వెళ్ళినప్పుడు ఎర్లీ మార్నింగ్ దే గో. సో లాట్ ఆఫ్ farmers get bitten by snakes, because snakes of course do that on reaction basis. So this fellow developed a stick which when you keep it on the ground, it will generate so much of vibration that snake okavela unna accident darlo that will go away. So that's a sort of a thing, and it has also got a light also in the night to see them. So raitulaki upayagapade. So lot of children, I think all of you must have participated in several science exhibitions, got medals, and take the next step. How do you translate that to solve a problem in the society? I think that's what this Science Day, when attending such programs, should inspire it. That's what they're saying, inspiration. What is the inspiration you're going to get? So remember, 28th of February 2023 is going to be a landmark day in your life, and future you will be doing a lot of things very, very innovatively, and do something good for the society. I think that's what we all here for. That is probably when you are investing one day of your life on such programs, you should get the return on investment. Now, the other thing I was saying is about these fundamental duties. Everybody talks about fundamental rights, but Indian Constitution clearly says, I hope all of us are Indian citizens. There are no foreigners here. Indian citizens and andaru. So if you are an Indian citizen and wave that Indian flag proudly when India wins a match or whatever it is, or when army does well, Mera Bharat Mahan, that's okay. But patriotism doesn't end there. You remember the fundamental duty if you are an Indian citizen. Article 51AG talks about every Indian citizen shall take steps to protect and improve our environment, forest, lakes, other water bodies, and also to have compassion for all living creatures. That compassion for all living creatures, because we are sharing this planet Earth with several other species, millions of species. They all share the same planet Earth. It's not just Homo sapiens, that is you and me, that we are taking over the Earth. So kindly remember that there are so many co-inhabitants on planet Earth. We should do something for them. One thing I can remember is there's something about birds. People talk about birds, right? You enjoy watching the birds chirping in the morning and coming back in the evening. Do you know what they do throughout the day? They help in removing harmful insects, help in pollination, help in dispersal of the seed, greenery to spread, and things like that. So there was one study done in Sweden, in a national park, Stockholm National Park. If the birds are extinct, because they did a study on a something like Eurasian jay, which is similar to our Indian roller, Palapitta antam kada, Palapitta cousin Eurasian jay, Sweden lo. So about 650 hectares of Stockholm National Park, the bird was doing all these ecosystem service. So they had said, if this bird is extinct, like many species are becoming extinct even before we realize, if the bird gets extinct and I have to get the same work done by people like you and me, or engaging machinery, how much does it cost? You know what is the bill? If you want to replace birds, that was almost $6.2 million. So ee rojuna currency conversion lo manam chuskunte 48 crores of rupees per annum. So monthly salary if you want to engage birds in your garden is 4 crores. I don't know which CEO in the country will get 4 crore per month salary. So all these birds are doing free of cost. In return, what they expect? Live and let live. Just our habitat be safe. మా చెట్లు కొట్టేయకండి, మాకు ఒక గూడు కట్టుకోవడానికి ఇవ్వండి. They have the skill. Even if there is a cyclone or anything, tree falls down or whatever it is, their nest goes down, they have the skill to rebuild. They don't come and do dharna in front of government office, our house is gone, please construct a new house. No, they have that skill. So the same sort of a spirit is there, that resilience, which we all should encourage. So summer is coming now. Now already temperatures are rising. These birds need water. Konni places low, they don't get much water access. So is it possible for you to just keep some earthen pot low water on your terrace, wherever you are staying, and then put some grains around and then see. So you are extending the life of these beautiful workers of the nature so that they can serve us better. Okay, it's simple things. I mean, these are the things which you can always do, and then see within 1 month how the ecosystem around your house changes. ఇప్పుడు ఇదివరకు మనకి ఇంటి ముందర ముగ్గు వేసేవాళ్ళు, రంగోలీ అంటాం, రైస్ ఫ్లోర్ బియ్య పిండితో వేసేవాళ్ళు. సో దట్ ఈస్ ఎ ఫుడ్, and by evening it is gone. The ecosystem is there. Today, because of our own lifestyle changes and fast pace, we are using permanent markers or artificial colors, which is not a food. So, but can you put some small little pidicate grains in the middle of the rangoli, maybe decoration ankondi, and then see for 1 month what happens, how the ecosystem develops, how your own surroundings will become better. So you can actually help each other. So there are a lot of ways of doing it done, this sort of a thing. I also would like you to explore one site called overshootday.org. Overshootday.org. Why it is important is that they are monitoring how much we are consuming from the earth. We talk about sustainable management and environmental sustainability. Earth has got probably X amount of goods to produce every year. If we take only that much, okay, sustainable. But what is happening is the human beings are over exploiting. You are taking more. Normally, what this site does is, if we take whatever Earth is giving every year, then Earth Overshoot Day should fall ideally on 31st December every year. But last year, you know, that Earth Overshoot Day fell on 28th July 2022. What does that mean? From 29th July 2022, we are eating quota from 2023. Already overdraft. At this rate, next year probably it will go to July 15th, after that June. So it is going. So after some time, we may need one more planet Earth to survive. So do we have one more planet Earth? Absolutely not. Although so much of technology is there, ISRO may be exploring and Mangalyaan and things like that, but this is a beautiful planet. It is for us to keep it that way with our little actions, maybe by changing our lifestyle, being more eco-friendly. This is what we expect from such sessions, where you can bring in a little bit of behavioral changes. I'll just give you one small example. I do have another 5 minutes. There was one student of 8th class in Madinagoda High School. His name is Jafar Saeed. So what he did was, somebody went to the class and then tell, we should plant trees and it's good for health and things like that, it will improve environment. Everybody else listened and then said, clapped and then went away. This fellow went home and said, okay, let me plant. So he started planting in his home. Not satisfied, went to neighbor's home, pressed the calling bell and asked, uncle, can I plant some saplings in your house? So these days, children are not going to neighbor's house and meeting uncles and aunties. No, they are all busy with their smartphones and computers and homework or whatever. So the socialization is missing. But this fellow went to the next. Then like that, again not satisfied, went to 3rd house, 4th house, 5th house. Seeing this Jafar, I think other children of his age group joined. They became a green brigade and they went on planting around, and they were not satisfied, so they wanted to do some more planting. They came to us and we said, is there a common area where we can do some planting? So they found a colony park which was abandoned with a lot of debris, antisocial elements staying there, and kachra being thrown. So I said, can we get that cleaned up? I don't know what Jafar did or their parents did. Within a week or so, they got everything cleaned up. We went there and planted nice seedlings, about 120, 130 of them. Then people in that colony started using that park for celebrating their birthdays and going for morning walk and all. So if you just look back, that change, transformation in that particular colony, who has brought it? Is it the speaker who went to the school and said we should plant trees? Or is it the person, the student of 8th class, Jafar, who actually implemented that knowledge And whatever is within his control, he has actually made a difference. So that's the spirit that we should have, learning something. Do your own bit within your own means. Don't bother whether someone else is appreciating you or not appreciating you. If you like it, you do it. If you don't like it, you also raise your voice. I'll give you one small example from Manipur. There was a little girl, her name is Valentina, and she was very fond of trees. So while going to the school, all of you must be walking to school, you'll find trees on the roadside. So she used to carry some water for those trees and then nurture them. One day what happened, she found those trees were felled for probably road expansion or whatever it is. So she didn't know what to do. She's a just 9-year-old girl. So she sat on the road and started crying. Like if somebody dies in a house, no, people gather all around human beings, so they start wailing, Matam manate hain. So similarly, Valentina Devi was crying in front of those fallen trees, and somebody took a video which became viral on the social media. Then Chief Minister of Manipur came to know that one little girl is crying over felled trees, so he called her and said, I'll give you 20 trees. Not only that, I'll make you green ambassador of Manipur, and today onwards you'll be in charge of greenery in the state. So the thing is, she has expressed her dissent. She didn't like something. She did whatever is good, within her means, and express. So don't keep it to yourself. If you don't like something, do it. If you like something, passionately pursue it. I think today is ideal day for us to understand perseverance. You know how C.V. Raman got Nobel Prize? It's not like he did some experiment and hope the world will notice. No. He was aggressively pursuing. I know even before the papers were published, he was sending it to all the jury members, of whoever is the reputed scientist, said, I should get Nobel Prize next year. And did so much of campaigning and canvassing that ultimately, because he was worried somebody else may discover the same thing and then take over. So he was aggressively doing so. That perseverance is also very, very important for you. And I'll just conclude, because a lot of students are there, with one of my Hyderabad public school, because they're celebrating their centenary now, I think, Begumpet. There's a student, Aditya, who was again probably in 8th class when he joined us in a lake cleanup program in Mayapur. And then he participated in the cleanup for 5 hours continuously in hot sun, without even stopping even once. Even if when he wanted to drink water, his father came and then gave the bottle. So I was impressed by this little fellow. He said nobody has asked him to do volunteer work, and cleaning up a lake is the dirtiest job. There's so much of muck that is thrown. So Aditya was doing that, and then I was impressed. So I wrote a letter to the HPS principal appreciating that Aditya is a wonderful guy, and I'm happy that your teachers have groomed him like that. Appreciated the school also. And next day in the morning meeting, principal madam called Aditya onto the stage. He didn't know what was happening. He was scared why I am being called. Then she said, okay, he's a role model. He's an enthusiast environmentalist worth emulating. Everybody should follow him. And forest department senior officials have appreciated his work and things like that. From that day onwards, Aditya had no option in his life but to become environmentalist, because in publicly his principal has so-called baptized him to become an environmentalist. And then he went on to do a project for saving sparrows. And I think 3-4 years later, he went to Sabarimala, and along with his father. Then from there, he sends me a mail. I don't like what I see here. People are throwing plastic everywhere, and then there's so much of garbage. He has given me the locations. I said, I am in Hyderabad. What can I do about Kerala? But still, I didn't want to discourage that fellow. So I wrote to the Kerala government, environmental management agency in Kerala, asking them, can you do something about it? Immediately people went there. When Aditya was there, they got it cleaned up. And subsequently, the ban that you are seeing about plastic in Sabarimala was a result of Aditya's perseverance. He didn't give up his passion for environment. So I think there's so much you people can make a big difference. So my request to you is become somebody who is remembered for all the good works that you have done. Leave a positive footprint. We are already leaving a lot of carbon footprint, but with our green actions, let us make things a little better, not only for us, but for our future generations also. So that's all I have in this short time that we have, but maybe some other time when we get more details, definitely we will come and interact with you and then help you to become more eco-friendly citizens. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raghuveer Garu, for reminding us about the balancing of the ecosystem along with the birds and animals, and also the responsibility as per the acts of constitution that we have to follow to be better citizens. Thank you so much, sir. And I would like to extend my warm welcome for the students who are here from New Science College, Amirpet. Big round of applause. Neo Rosary School, Toli Chowki. Little Angel School, Nampalli. We also have students from Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Degree College, Baglihampalli. And NTR Model School, Gandipet. And there are few students who've come here all the way from Mumbai, RD National College. Well, we extend a warm welcome to Inspire. And this is National Science Day celebrations. Our next speaker is Dr. V. Seshagiri Rao Garu, who is the former Distinguished Scientist and former Associate Director, Satish Dhawan Space Center, ISRO. He will be speaking to us about benefits of science through satellites and satellite constellations. Let's welcome him with a big round of applause.
Very good morning to all of you. It's a pleasure for me to be with you on the National Science Day organized by All India Radio Hyderabad. If you look at the national theme today is Global Science for Global Well-being. That is the theme today. The moment you say it is global, I remember globe also. Right now, the globe is being monitored by various satellites. Do you know what is a satellite? How many of you know? Satellites. Heard of the name? Yeah, so many people. What about satellite constellation? Anybody knew? Okay. What about star constellation? People know about star constellation by now. The reason being, you look at the moon, you look at various stars in the sky, and you enjoy while watching them. And some of you call those stars as your birth star. Do you? Yes, some of you. But here, the satellite constellation means a set of satellites organized in a geometrical form in the sky to observe Earth for various benefits of the society. That is the constellation. The constellation can be in different forms. It can be a train, it can be bird formation, it can be anything. But the constellation depends on the type of activity you want to do, the type of observation you want to carry out on the Earth. There are so many constellations being launched by various science-faring nations in the world. Did anybody know what is the biggest constellation that is being launched by Spacelinks? Starlinks? It is 42,000 satellites in a time frame of decade and a half. What do they do? Do they do in helping the science on Earth? Helping the community? The answer is yes, undoubtedly. For example, all of you must have heard of monitoring the ozone layer over the globe, isn't it? How many of you knew about the ozone layer? Yes, many people. How it is monitored? The concentration of the ozone layer is monitored from Earth, and periodic warnings are given if the ozone layer is weakening. What happens if the ozone layer weakens? Your ultraviolet rays enters the Earth. Then you have the problems, health problems. There are many other radiations which are halted by the ozone layer. For example, If I have a mechanism to monitor the ozone layer from sky through satellites, do you know when there is a satellite in the sky, the observable area is nothing but, when you put on a torchlight, if you take at a meter distance, you see the light covering more than the disk of your torchlight. That is the angle at which it subtends to the bulb and the distance you travel. Similarly, the monitoring, if it is done by a satellite from a distance of 1000 kilometers, and it can monitor on Earth a circle equivalent to 400 kilometers radius. That means in a single shot, it can monitor 400 kilometers radius, for example. How many such shots are required simultaneously, if you want to do, to cover the globe? There are so many. 6,378 kilometers is the radius of the Earth. Then you compute the surface area, divide them into 400 kilometers circular areas. It comes to so much in number. Suppose if I have that many satellites where every 400 kilometers is monitored in a single shot, that means every instant, in real time, the entire globe observation is available to me. That is the constellation importance here. So that means I want to see the observation, what is happening on the globe in real time. What is real time? The real time monitoring is nothing but instantly watching it, observing it, and take an inference. If a control is required, activate the control. That is real time. For that you need real time monitoring. If you want real time monitoring to be carried out by a number of satellites, you need constellation. As far as science is concerned, all of you know that through satellites people are doing many activities. The remote sensing, disaster management monitoring, forest monitoring, horticulture, agriculture, whatnot, even mining, water resources, water bodies, floods, whatnot, anything is monitored and they are being sent to ground for the community. There are regular things that are happening, but I will give an example of 4 to 5 things which are being done actually to safeguard Earth as well as the community and the entire humanity. One such example is the magnetic storms. For example, you know, Sun is the important star in the solar system. Occasionally, once in 11 years, a big chunk of a small piece of fire, or you call it as core, comes out of the Sun, and it generates so much magnetic storms where Earth also will face it, because the magnetic storms will get spread all over the solar system. So Earth is not an exception. When such thing is there, will anything happen to Earth? Yes. For example, in the year 1859, the Carrington effect was observed because that was detected by Carrington. Similar magnetic storm, what I narrated earlier, has happened, and the entire electrical lines on ground got flashed. The teleprinters got burnt. Such was the magnetic storm. If such a thing occurs, do the current magnetic storm, let us say the electronic gadgets, whatever we are using, will they survive? The answer is no. But whether the magnetic storms stop occurring, the answer is no. But how to protect ourselves? The only thing is, you monitor through satellites when such storms occurs, switch off all your gadgets, switch off all your systems, and stay for a few hours till it passes off. Then you can switch on. If you don't switch off, the systems will get spoiled. See, the automation is the key in the entire world. If such automation gets into a problem, all of us are in trouble. The entire world comes to a halt. But we don't want it. So that is why some satellites are exclusively kept in space for monitoring the magnetic storms. Like your weather prediction, there are websites saying that today's magnetic storm index is this much. It is 1.1, don't bother. It is 5.5, there is an index where you have to take care. That is one. The second thing is, for example, if a big asteroid, let us say, poses a danger to the Earth, it is actually starts from the asteroid belt and it is approaching Earth, and if it is a very big one, let us say if it is 100 tons, if it is going to hit Earth, there is going to be catastrophe. You may be seeing in newspapers maybe a few months back where very small asteroids actually brushed us maybe few lakhs of kilometers away. When such a thing comes, we have to protect our Earth. How do you protect? The only way to protect is you deflect it out. How do you deflect it? The moment you want to deflect it, you have to spend an energy there. How much energy? For example, if an asteroid is detected 1 billion kilometers away, your prediction point of view, it is likely to hit the Earth. It is enough if you deflect it by 1 centimeter per second velocity away, which is equivalent to 0.01 degree. That is sufficient to keep us safe. That is why some of the spacefaring nations, they have done an experiment called DART, that is Dual Asteroid Redirection Test. They found one big asteroid like Earth. It's not the size of the Earth. The size of that asteroid was few hundreds of miles, and around that a small asteroid is rotating like moon. What our friends have done, they have sent a spacecraft with some energy, and the smaller asteroid which is moving around the bigger asteroid, they made it to collide with some energy, and they found that how much it has got deflected, that is taken as an experiment. Right now the experimental verification is ready. How much one has to deflect an incoming asteroid in case it poses to danger. Is it not a big achievement if you are able to compute the energy? And let us say if at all an asteroid comes, you are ready to do something with your action. That is another thing. The third and important example what I want to make a mention is about the solar energy. The solar energy is abundant in space, and all satellites function when the solar cells generate electricity for the requirement of the satellite. Imagine on moon, I set up a big solar field and radiate through RF wave through Earth. Is it possible? Yes, some experiments are being conducted. If you are able to do that, so-called structures that are orbiting the Earth and so-called whatever you want to keep on moon for generating the electricity there, who knows, by by transmitting the electricity through RF wave, you may solve some of the energy problems. There are many things. In addition to that, the life, the outer space life. Is there an outer space life? Anybody has seen? If at all, how many light years away that particular Earth-like system, if at all it is there, surrounding other star systems? The nearest such thing is Alpha Centauri, which is nearly 4 light years away. But light travels at 3 lakhs kilometers per second. I don't know. You can compute very simply. If you are traveling at 30 kilometers per second, when something is 3 lakh kilometers per second, 1 light year means what is the distance, how many years it will take. Few generations on earth will change if you want to travel even 1 light year distance. When such is the thing, how do you see whether there is life outside? It's only by evidential, either methane traces monitoring, water traces monitoring, atmosphere monitoring. Let us say the Mars, if you want to colonize such things, what is lacking there? Oxygen. So nowadays, the people, some of the universities on earth have come out with an experiment. They inhale the Mars atmosphere and exhale oxygen. That experiment is called MOXIE. So many things will come up. The life for a human to colonize the other planets like Mars or Moon is going to be a reality, provided the science help to live harmlessly there. That is why a student in one of the European universities has come out a collapsible habitat unit. You take a collapsible habitat unit, wherever you want to live, you just trigger it, that will expand like a box. It contains all life-saving things. You stay there till the life-saving things exist, and then do the experiment, come back through your means of transport, that is what have been designed. These are many things. So, just I want to tell some of the advanced things to you, so that the science is the one. Normally, what you see here on earth is for the well-being of the humans and the society. In addition to that, we have to safeguard, you have to monitor the earth, you have to safeguard the earth, and many things. So, I want to thank All India Radio for organizing such an event here. And I want to make a mention here. The All India Radio is so close to me. The reason being, when my father was a president in one of the villages near Vijayawada, he has set up community radios in 1963 with some of the household people who are interested to run that community radio. And believe it or not, by evening 6 o'clock and morning 5 o'clock, 5:30, they used to switch on. And people like me as a small boy, we used to gather around and listen to them. That is the one we had. Akashvani means to remember. So actually the penetration of radio during this was number one. And this type of programs will help in taking this and put it for all the younger generations to know the details that have been come up in various societal research areas to the students straight away. Lastly, I want to say, is India a developed nation? Yes, it's a developed nation, because you tell anything, you have the system to manufacture and use it. And is India a super country? I will say yes. Where is that super country attribute? In the form of educated youth. In the entire world, as far as the educated youth is concerned, India is the super country number one. So let us make India super country like this by young children like you and all the listeners who are on the sets now. Thank you very much.
మీకు కూడా ధన్యవాదాలు సార్. డాక్టర్ వి శేషగిరిరావు గారు, ఫార్మర్ సైంటిస్ట్ అండ్ ఫార్మర్ అసోసియేట్ డైరెక్టర్, సతీష్ ధావన్ స్పేస్ సెంటర్, ఇస్రో. మీరు శాటిలైట్స్ గురించి అందించిన వాల్యుబుల్ సమాచారం అది. మరి ముఖ్యంగా ఇందాక చివరిలో కొసమెరుపులాగా మీరు కమ్యూనిటీ రేడియో గురించి చెప్పారు. సో ఆకాశవాణి లాంటి ఒక ప్రసార మాధ్యమ కుటుంబం మీది కాబట్టి ఆ రకంగా కూడా మీకు ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేసుకుంటున్నాం ఆ సమాచారం మాతో పంచుకున్నందుకు. ఇన్స్పైర్ అనేటువంటి నినాదంతో ఆకాశవాణి హైదరాబాద్ కేంద్రం ఆధ్వర్యంలో నేషనల్ సైన్స్ డే విశేష కార్యక్రమం కొనసాగుతోంది. ఇక్కడ హైదరాబాద్ బిఎం బిర్లా సైన్స్ సెంటర్లోని భాస్కర్ ఇండోర్ ఆడిటోరియంలో. మరోసారి మన ఆహుతులకు గుర్తు చేస్తున్నాం, అలాగే శ్రోతలకు గుర్తు చేస్తున్నాం. ఈరోజు ఈ కార్యక్రమం లైవ్గా కొన్ని భిన్న వేదికల్లో మనం చూస్తున్నాం, వింటున్నాం. హైదరాబాద్ ఏ కేంద్రం, అలాగే ఎఫ్ఎం రెయిన్బో, తెలంగాణ, ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్లోని అన్ని ఆకాశవాణి కేంద్రాలు, అలాగే ఏఆర్ హైదరాబాద్ యూట్యూబ్ ఛానల్ ద్వారా ఈ కార్యక్రమం ప్రత్యక్ష ప్రసారం కొనసాగుతోంది. ఇప్పుడు ఈ కార్యక్రమంలో భాగంగా డాక్టర్ ప్రథమ ఎస్ మైంకర్ గారు, వీరు సీనియర్ ప్రిన్సిపల్ సైంటిస్ట్, అలాగే సిఎస్ఐఆర్ ఇండియన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ ఆఫ్ కెమికల్ టెక్నాలజీ, వీరిని ఆహ్వానిస్తున్నాం. వీరు సిఎస్ఐఆర్ ఎఫర్ట్స్ ఇన్ మిటిగేషన్ ఆఫ్ COVID-19 స్పెషల్ ఎంఫసిస్ ఆన్ IICT's కంట్రిబ్యూషన్స్ అనేటువంటి అంశం గురించి మనకు అవగాహన కల్పిస్తారు. స్వాగతం మేడం.
Namaste. I am a scientist, so I would like to speak in English and a bit of Hindi, but my Hindi is will be relaced with more English words. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them, and I can meet you afterwards also. I work in Indian Institute of Chemical Technology, and I work in the area of pharmaceutical drugs and do drug discovery. So we always think of science. जब हम साइंस के विज्ञान के बारे में सोचते हैं तो हमें लगता है कि इसमें सब बुरी बातें हैं, एनवायरनमेंट इफेक्ट हो रहा है, टेम्परेचर्स बढ़ रहे हैं. But if you really look at science, then you will know that our life expectancy has increased. We have conquered many diseases. Our country was known for the famines that we used to have, but science has made sure that we are no more a country which has less of grains, but we are surplus. We give to many countries in the world. And the recent pandemic that helped, that affected all of us, has made sure that we emerge as a science nation as well. We were really faced with many problems. We didn't know what should we do when the COVID came. But I work in CSIR, and my colleague is also there. He'll be afterwards talking about CSIR again. So we were given a target that we have to make sure that we meet the pandemic squarely as scientists. And then we started working on small molecules which were known to work for other viruses, because nothing was known for what will work on COVID. We didn't even know how it will work. So we started working on molecules, drug molecules, which were known to work on other viruses, and favipiravir is one molecule which was identified as working for influenza virus. And I'm very proud to say that our team worked for 23 days, developed a process and transferred to Cipla to make sure that it is available for the whole country to use. And our DGCI has made sure that, thank you. So DGCI made sure that it will be available, given a very quick approval to be made available to people. In the second wave, we realized that we need another molecule, so we worked on remdesivir, which was given to many companies in Hyderabad as well as in other parts of the country. And remdesivir was also made in India because we had the technology for it. But the last part is something that I would like to tell you. When we were working on all these molecules, we were given a challenge by Bharat Biotech to make sure that we make a molecule which goes in their vaccine. The vaccine is made from using the virus, which is attenuated, so it's not live anymore, but that is given. And if they add one molecule, that is an adjuvant, into the vaccine, then the efficacy of the vaccine increases almost double fold. So if you just give the virus, it is around 46 to 47% efficacious. That means if 100 people take the vaccine, 46 to 47 people will not get infected. But when we add this molecule, the efficacy increased to 86 to 93%. So out of 193 people will be safe. That's the advantage of using this molecule. And again, we work day and night. During the COVID pandemic, chemicals were not available, so we had to work on indigenous chemicals, made sure that the process is developed in such a way that anybody can scale it up. Any industry who came to us, we have given them the process so that it can be made. And that's how Bharat Biotech's Covaxin was made available to all of you. So whoever has taken Covaxin, our molecule is in your blood. Please remember that. Your lives are saved because of ISCT. I'm very proud to be a part of that. So in addition to that, we do work on other diseases as well. We are working on cancer, we are working on CNS related diseases, and tuberculosis is another area where we are trying to find new molecules, because TB develops resistance very easily, very fast. That's one bacterium which stays dormant in our bodies for a long time, and then later it starts developing resistance. So we are working on finding new molecules which will work for TB. In addition to that, we are also working, in our institute, we are working for developing pheromones for agriculture, which will avoid the use of pesticides. The problem for agriculture is because of pesticides, we are able to get better yields, but even the insects which help the plants are getting destroyed because of that. So the pheromones work on the technology that the insects which are only troubling the plants, they will be caught, and the other insects will not be harmed at all. So the insects are caught by pheromone technology, and the plants are not spread with any pesticides, and so all the fruits or grains, whatever you get, will be organic, purely organic. So that's another technology that we are doing. So when we think of science, please also think of the positive things that we are doing. And since you all are very young, I wish all of you come into science, take up science as a career. We need more and more scientists in our country. As the sir just said that we are a young nation, all of us are educated. Please come into science, because our country needs more C.V. Ramans than software engineers. I again thank All India Radio, and I think I would like to take some questions rather than talking about what I have done, if that's allowed. After this, okay. Thank you all then.
Thank you so much for the wonderful insight, ma'am. As ma'am said, we need more C.V. Ramans in our world, and also we need more enthusiastic women scientists like Prathama ma'am, and indeed a wonderful and inspiring talk. So our next guest, we're going to have Dr. C.V.S. Kiran Garu, who's the lead research and development and strategic initiatives, Skyroot Aerospace Private Limited, and he's going to speak to us about from materials to space, interdisciplinary fields of research in sciences. Let's welcome him with a big round of applause.
Thank you very much for the kind invitation. At the outset, I would like to thank All India Radio for giving the honor as well as pleasure to present ourselves or all the distinguished people in front of general audience, which is a different stage to communicate to the public. So we have both audio as well as video. So thanks to all the efforts what is being going on at All India Radio. So before I start, I would like to just give a brief thing about how it all started for me in my career, because most of the people who are listening to this or viewing this as of now throughout the world are basically young students, the next generation or the torchbearers of our country. So having studied materials at Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technology in Hyderabad, Gandipet, and then went on further towards working currently at a space company, or India's premier space company, private company who has launched the first rocket into space, Skyroot Aerospace. I think, or I feel strongly, that the field of science is multidisciplinary. It is not only ranging from one particular field where we used to say only physics, only chemistry, only biology, and we separate all of them, but it is mixed. If we consider what we currently see in day-to-day activities throughout all science and technology journals or fields, people try to combine things. Even for that matter, even kids, what they look at. When they try to do some experiments as hobby at space, what the parents encourage, they inculcate actually indirectly different fields of science, either physics or chemistry. They have been doing that since the ages, but now that is coming into practice because of the fact that we want to become Atmanirbhar or self-reliant. So keeping this one in mind, if we come to the point where I am currently working at, space. space is one of the most interdisciplinary field, as sir has just now said, Seshkir Rao Garu. And it leads to the overall development of all the fields of science and technology, not only one. It leads to space development, means it leads to the development in various fields. Physics in space, chemistry in space, biology in space, materials in space, medicine in space, manufacturing in space, pharmaceuticals in space. And now the list goes on and finally leads to the point of science in space. All the experiments what we do today are directly or indirectly in space, whatever we are doing in space, are directly or indirectly related to the overall development of the field of science. So this has to come from young generation. It cannot come from, people who have already seen, right from the torch bearers who you are now, where you are now there, from your school level. You need to inculcate this and come into the field of science. As madam was just telling, we need more scientists. Yeah. So at Skyroot, we do a lot of activities for R&D, as well as in my general course where I studied materials, we did a lot of work in R&D. So in all these things, the main thing what drives the whole thing is the passion. The passion what is there in the student, or the passion what is there in a person who is trying to go into the field, has to go into the finest possible depth. Then only we can bring out more C.V. Ramans. So this has to come into the mind of everyone. We should not stop at a point. Continue the thing what you are trying to do. If you are trying to collaborate with, for example, biology, and put that into space, you put some biological things, seeds in space. How do you put pharmaceutical medicines, how the pharmaceutical medicines or the drugs behave in space? Do you know whether paracetamol works in space if you go on a space tour? In the next decade, we are going to go on a tour to the moon or tour to the space. Like we had aeroplanes long ago, where it was a vision for everyone to go into space. In the next decade, people will be going on tours into space. So in all these things, we will be needing a lot of day-to-day, necessities what we are doing. And this is what is the identification of a particular problem. You know the problems already, try to solve them. Don't look for problems created by someone else. Try to know what the problems you are facing in a day-to-day activity. Try to find a solution for these activities. That is what is going to lead all these activities. Solving the problems through science, technology, innovation, and thereby also communicating it to the public leads to the development of the entire field of science in the country. So, as just a small point, before I, wind up all these things, one of the most important point I would like to say is that we also need to remember what our people or the stalwarts in science have done. So, a lot of people we have ranging from Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, who is considered to be the father of space sciences, to Sir C.V. Raman or Professor C.V. Raman, whatever we try to call him. They are stalwarts of science. Besides them, see what is there, what people have done. So we also need to have or inculcate the habit of reading scientific journals, scientific articles. It is also said in science that a person who has one brilliant idea here at this corner of the globe, there's also one more person who is having the same idea at the other corner of the globe. So just need to see which one comes into practice and how fast we are. So creating applications is only possible by creating new science. This new science has to come from the torchbearers of our country. So just a small thing as what Skyroot Aerospace does in this field is that in fond remembrance of Professor C.V. Raman, we named all the series of liquid rocket engines as Raman series of engines. And these were successfully tested as India's first privately built liquid engines by Skyroot Aerospace in 2020. So I'd like to, close this one and then say thanks to All India Radio for giving us this honor, and also hope to all the listeners throughout the world that we get more scientists and more inspired people and passionate students for the next generation science. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Kiran sir, thank you on behalf of All India Radio. సో నెక్స్ట్ గెస్ట్ స్పీకర్ ప్రజెంటేషన్ నడుస్తుంది. గెస్ట్లు కంఫర్టబుల్గా కింద కూర్చుని అతను ఇచ్చేటువంటి ప్రజెంటేషన్ స్క్రీన్ మీద చూడొచ్చు. ఓకే, ఈ మాట చెప్పడానికి రీజన్ ఏమంటే ఇక్కడ ప్రజెంటేషన్ స్క్రీన్ మీద నడుస్తుంది కాబట్టి మీకు చూడడం ఇబ్బంది.
We have a Q&A session. If you're interested to ask questions to any of our dignitaries, scientists, please come forward. We're ready to take one or two questions. We request the dignitaries to please be seated. Any questions?
Okay.
Yes, we have a question there. I'll go down there and get the question.
మైక్ ఇవ్వండి.
A very good morning. It's just an open question. Anyone would, take the question to answer. But this is really troubling me because, even having taught the students and seeing the students' lifestyle nowadays, I feel that is it the student or the teacher's relationship that has faded away? That why aren't we able to produce a single C.V. Raman past decades? So this is something that has touched me on a very serious note. Thank you.
I too got the same question when I met Abdul Kalam. Of course, I worked with him. I put that question to him, but a different way, not exactly the C.V. Raman type, but why the science opting students are getting reduced year by year. As far as the current scenario is concerned, the students and teachers and the way they teach the subject in the class is concerned first class, because you have modern gadgets and you can tell the syllabus or the concept directly to them, no issue. In addition to that, there is a first guru. The first guru is none other than the father and mother. That actually up to the age of 5, the influence of the first guru matters, and from the age of 5 or 6 onwards, they are actually with the academic curriculum. So the seeds what are actually they have been sown in 1 to 5 matters a lot. If they give an open mind to the child, actually 1 to 5, there is no physics, no chemistry, no biology. Their inquisitiveness is concerned. They ask hundreds of questions to the parents to know about the environment. And normally, the child of 1 to 5 is named as most intelligent brain compared to others, because by the time you are taking first class onwards, you have been biased to the syllabus, whereas 1 to 5 is an open mind. If people, let us say especially the parents, if they allow the open mind to know by their inquisitiveness, by questioning, the learning concept for science will get automatically developed. That is lacking in India. Yes, as the madam said, youth should not feel that earning is the only criteria to take up a career. If that is the criteria, you always see less C.V. Ramans. If the criteria is, in my childhood, I have developed some passion for a particular activity. Let me study and come up in that area. For example, 2 years back, the Nobel Prize in Medicine is given to a person who has decoded the touch. What do you mean by touch? It can be mother's touch. It can be a touch on your body when there is a pain. It carries a signal to your brain that there is a soothing. That soothing is different in different concept. If a small child is weeping, the moment mother's hand is there on the body, she stops weeping, she or he. That touch has been decoded. He was given actually Nobel Prize. What does it mean? The touch decoded, and let us say it is taken up to an area where the decoding gives society something? It is yes. Because ultimately, when there is a kind of a pain to you, if you are generating a simulator where a soothing touch can be generated, you don't require a medicine. That is the ultimate thing. So what I want to tell is, the parents are the first, let us say, the gurus who have to create a kind of free thinking in the minds of the students. Next, teacher. So this is what I want to tell. Unless you take a career other than earning, it is difficult. But you have every possibility to come out of that and take them to the science research. Thank you.
థ్యాంక్ యూ శేషగిరావు గారు. ఈ ప్రశ్న అడిగిన సోదరికి మరోసారి నమస్కారం. ఎందుకంటే చాలామందికి ఈ ప్రశ్న పీడిస్తుంది. మనకు యూనివర్సిటీలు పెరిగాయి, ల్యాబొరేటరీస్ పెరిగాయి, అయినా ఫుల్ ఫ్లెడ్జ్డ్ నోబెల్ బహుమతి మనకు ఎందుకు రాలేదని. దీనికి సార్ చాలా వివరంగా చెప్పారు. అయితే చిన్న ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చెప్తాను. ఒకసారి ఆయన ల్యాబ్లో ఉన్నప్పుడు సివి రామన్ స్టూడెంట్ వచ్చారట. సార్ నాకు 140 వాట్స్ బల్బ్ కావాలి, మా దగ్గర 40A ఉంది అని. అప్పుడు సివి రామన్ గారు కూల్గా, నీ బుర్ర 140 వాట్లతో ఉపయోగించు అని చెప్పారంట. అర్థమైంది అనుకుంటా. అది స్టూడెంట్స్కి, స్కాలర్స్కి, తల్లిదండ్రులకి అందరికీ వర్తిస్తుంది. అది లేకపోవడం వల్లనే సమస్య. ఎందుకంటే ఐసీఎస్ చదివి సివి రామన్ గారు 17.5 ఏళ్ల వయసులో ఐసీఎస్ ఆఫీసర్గా సెలెక్ట్ అయ్యి ఇంట్రెస్ట్ కలిగి ట్రామ్లో వెళ్తున్నప్పుడు సైన్స్ బోర్డు చూసి దిగి నేరుగా అక్కడ వెళ్ళి అక్కడే ఆయన పరిశోధన చేశాడు. ఆ పరిశోధనకే నోబెల్ ప్రైజ్ వచ్చింది. ఇంకా ఒక విషయం చెప్పాలి. మన ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ తెలంగాణ ప్రాంతానికి సంబంధించిన సివి రామన్ శిష్యుడు సూర్యభగవంతం గారు మన ఉస్మాన్ యూనివర్సిటీ వైస్ ఛాన్సలర్గా చేశారు. వీళ్ళ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ అందరికీ ఆయన మార్గదర్శకులు. ఆయన కానీ అలాగే సిరుగురు జయరావు అని 1928లో సివి రామన్ దగ్గర రీసెర్చ్ చేశారు. మన తెలుగు వ్యక్తి. ఆయన ఐసీఎస్ ఆఫీసర్గా వచ్చి తర్వాత ఆ పిహెచ్డి చేయాలి అని చేయలేకపోయిన వ్యక్తి, ఫ్రీడమ్ మూవ్మెంట్లో పాల్గొవాలన్న వ్యక్తి, సైన్స్ ఫిక్షన్ తెలుగుకు సంబంధించి ఫస్ట్ సైన్స్ ఫిక్షన్ రాసిన సిరుగురు జయరావు. కాబట్టి మనం ఆ బుర్ర, శ్రద్ధ, చిత్తశుద్ధి అవసరం. అది శేషగిరావు గారు ఒక రాసి చెప్పారు. ఈ ఎగ్జాంపుల్తో ఇంకో రకంగా చెప్తాను. కాబట్టి ఆ దృష్టి అందరూ పాటించాలనే ఇటువంటి కార్యక్రమాలు ఏర్పాటు చేశాం. నమస్కారం.
Thank you for asking that question. Science is driven only by passion. So if we nurture the passion, there is no reason why we should not have more people. But we try to make it into a commercial thing, it is never going to happen.
Thank you, Kanha ma'am, for the wonderful question. We have another...
No time, please.
No time. Oh.
We'll take questions again at the end.
Thank you.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్ అండ్ థ్యాంక్ యూ మ్యామ్. సమయం కూడా తక్కువ ఉంది. నెక్స్ట్ గెస్ట్ స్పీకర్ 11th క్లాస్ చదువుతున్న తేజ బెగరి. వీరు ఈ వయసులోనే రీసెర్చ్ రంగంలో ఉన్నారు, అలాగే అమెచ్యూర్ ఆస్ట్రోనామర్ కూడా. సిటిజన్ సైన్స్ ప్రాజెక్ట్, అలాగే యంగెస్ట్ అంబాసిడర్ ది అమెరికన్ అసోసియేషన్ ఆఫ్ వేరియబుల్ అబ్జర్వర్స్, ఏ జర్నీ ఆఫ్ అన్ అమెచ్యూర్ ఆస్ట్రోనామర్ అండ్ వేరియబుల్ స్టార్స్ అనేటువంటి అంశం గురించి తేజ బెగరి ఇచ్చేటువంటి ప్రెజెంటేషన్ మనందరి కోసం.
Mr. Teja Begari is the youngest ambassador, and the American Association of Variable Star Observers has recognized him, and he's going to take us through a journey of an amateur astronomer and variable stars. Well, he's right now working on Citizen Science Project and about variable stars as well, and he's studying in 11th grade. So this program, its name is Inspire, and that is what probably is an example that Teja is going to tell us. And being in 11th grade and exploring science so much, indeed amazing. So an inspiration to the students who are sitting right here. Big round of applause for Teja.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and everyone present here. It is a really great pleasure and honor to be among some of the distinguished scientists here, and always so fun to come to the planetarium, have a wonderful time here. So without wasting any of the time, because of the time constraints, I would like to start my presentation. It is going to be mostly about what I did and what you can do too as citizen scientists and projects where one can participate in without having a lot of knowledge beforehand, but you'll come out of the project with so much. So next slide please. So I'm currently working on the X-ray luminosity versus orbital period of AM CVM systems. I'm working on this research project with a professor from Texas Tech University in the United States. So it's going to be mostly about AM CVM systems, which are basically two combined cataclysmic stars which are orbiting each other, and how is there's going to be a difference if you observe it through X-ray luminosity and not optical light. So everything we see now is optical light, but what if we observe it with X-ray part of the wavelength? So what I do mostly is collect data from 3 different observatories which are out there in space, which is the Chandra Observatory, XMM and SWIFT. So I try to collect the X-ray fluxes of all these 3, from these 3 observatories, and we try to plot a kind of a graph and try to understand most part of the AM CVM systems. So I'll get back to the AM CVM systems, which are variable stars, which is a part of my presentation. Next slide, please. So I'm glad to share about being recently featured. That one on the top is me being featured in the Amateur Astronomer's Chinese magazine, which is now being presented in China. And the one on the other side is the 111th annual meeting of the American Association of Variable Star Observers, to which I am an ambassador. And in case you're interested, there is a magazine called SkySup, and I recently wrote for the SkySup magazine in the US. You can find the magazine online. You can read about variable stars and many other interesting presentations given by different scientists. And can anyone, okay, I'm not done. Okay, if anyone can recognize the person down there, it's been quite a long time. I'm pretty sure you know him. He's like quite a famous person. I'm pretty sure it'd be kind of surprised, but it's Rakesh Sharma, the first Indian astronaut who has been to space. He's become quite old now, so it's quite hard to, recognize it. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is something you might be interested in, which is mostly related to citizen science projects. So we had quite many distinguished scientists here. So how can citizen scientists, which means those who are not professional scientists, can help to real science? How can they contribute to real science? If anyone here is interested, they can partake in the projects, which I'm going to show now. The first one is going to be the International Astronomical Search Collaboration, IASC in short. If anyone here is interested, you can try to find asteroids. That's the project all about. And everything you need is just a laptop and, you know, passion and curiosity towards science. So what we're going to do in the project basically is you'll be getting data sets from Hawaii Space Telescope. You will be analyzing the data set and you will submit it back to NASA. So this is basically how you can try to find asteroids. This is one of the projects. If anyone here is interested, can have a look. And then next slide, please. And this is another project which is by the National Astronomical Observatory of Japan. It is related to galaxies. So as I said before, scientists are so busy that they don't have a lot of time to you know, look at each and every data they collect. So that is when they take help of citizen scientists and they try to you know, give the data out, and citizen scientists can actually contribute. So Galaxy Cruise is basically this project where you'll be getting data of different galaxies, and all you have to do is to find which kind of galaxy it is, whether it's an elliptical galaxy or a spiral galaxy. You can study about that in a little booklet given by them in a few you know, by the organization. And also there's another project very similar by the Pune Knowledge Cluster. It's very similar to the Galaxy Cruise. So what you're going to do is basically get the data of galaxies and submit it back to Pune Knowledge Cluster. By this you can actually help to real science. Next slide, please. Right, talking about AAVSO, the American Association of Variable Star Observers, is an international scientific and educational non-profit organization based in Boston, Massachusetts, USA. What AAVSO does is basically it collects data of variable stars. What are variable stars? So you see, next slide please. So you see stars in the night sky, and apart from twinkling, there are a few stars which are actually changing the magnitude. They're changing their light, you know, the amount of light they give. These stars are variable stars. So this is AAVSO's. AAVSO is a truly international organization. So we have researchers, observers, educators, and volunteers in different parts of the planet. So next slide, please. Yeah, I would like you to look at this a small video, like a presentation, where you can see a few stars are changing its brightness. Please note that they're not twinkling. Twinkling is a completely different concept. It's because you see, you know, there's a refraction, atmosphere, and all of it. But this picture is taken from space. What does it mean when it's taken from space? You should not see something like this. This isn't something you expect to see when you're seeing it from space, but they're actually changing their, you know, luminosity. Why is this happening? Next slide, please. These are called as variable stars, which are changing their brightness. So variable stars are classified into two types, intrinsic and extrinsic. So intrinsic is something that's happening inside, and extrinsic is something that's happening outside, which is more like eclipsing binaries. Next slide, please. So with the light curve, we try to find out which kind of variable star that is. Slide. So this picture is taken from Hubble Space Telescope. You see a star, a Cepheid variable in M100, which is changing its brightness as seen from April 23rd to May 31st. So we see a change. If you can observe it clearly, there's a small speck in the center. So it's changing its brightness. So it's a real-time data. It's been quite a long time though. Next slide. All right, so what you can do, this is my last slide. What you can do is basically, if you're interested in variable stars, or if you're interested in citizen science projects, if you would like to contribute to real science, it is not that you'll need to have a professional PhD or you'll need to be at least a bachelor student. All you have, you know, all you have to have is passion and curiosity for science. With that, you can contribute to real science and help professional scientists. By that means you know, it's never that you're a scientist only if you're probably a 30 or 40-year-old person. You can always be a scientist, doesn't matter when you, you know, you pursue science. So next slide, please. With that, I would like to end. Thank you so much. I would like to thank All India Radio and everyone else present here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Teja, for the wonderful presentation, and it is indeed amazing that you met so many prominent personalities and gained knowledge from them.
థ్యాంక్ యూ తేజ. ఇది మీలాగా అంటే ఈ వయసులోనే మీరు రీసెర్చ్ రంగంలో ఉన్నారు కాబట్టి ఇది చాలామందికి స్ఫూర్తిదాయకమైనటువంటి ప్రయాణం మీది. మీరు అందించిన సమాచారం కానీ మీ ప్రజెంటేషన్ కానీ ఆకాశవాణి తరఫున మరోసారి ధన్యవాదాలు. అలాగే సైన్స్ డే శుభాకాంక్షలు కూడా మరోసారి తేజ.
I see that you're enjoying your snacks, but a humble request. Usually in this auditorium, food isn't allowed, but I request you not to litter, and I know you will not. Now we have the second.
Sorry for the interruption. So on behalf of All India Radio, Begar, please come up to the stage. I'm just searching for you. So let us all once again give a big round of applause.
We are not done yet. We have the second session in the celebrations, and for the second session, may we please invite our dignitaries onto the dais.
తర్వాతి గెస్ట్ స్పీకర్ డాక్టర్ జి భానుప్రకాష్ రెడ్డి గారు. వీరు నేషనల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ ఆఫ్ న్యూట్రిషన్ సైంటిస్ట్. వీరు ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఆఫ్ బయోమెడికల్ రీసెర్చ్ గురించి సమాచారాన్ని ఇవ్వబోతున్నారు. జాతీయ పోషకాహార సంస్థలో శాస్త్రవేత్తగా ఉన్న డాక్టర్ జి భానుప్రకాష్ రెడ్డి గారు వారిని స్వాగతిస్తున్నాం ఆకాశవాణి తరఫున.
Please welcome Dr. G. Bhanuprakash Reddy, sir, who is a scientist in National Institute of Nutrition, and he will speak to us about the importance of biomedical research. Please welcome him with a big round of applause. Our next distinguished guest, we have Professor C.H. Sasikala Garu from Center for Environment, JNTU. Please welcome her with a big round of applause. Our next guest, we have Dr. T. Jyotirmay Garu, who is a Senior Principal Scientist and Head of CSIR CFTRI Resource Center, Opportunities in Food Processing and CFTRI Technologies. That is the topic she'll be speaking upon. Please welcome her with a big round of applause. Our next guest, Dr. D. Sri Nagesh Garu, who is a Professor of Practice from IIT Madras, and he will be talking to us about earthquake hazards. Please welcome our guests for the second session in this wonderful celebration of National Science Day. To begin with, may I request Dr. G. Bhanuprakash Reddy Garu, who is a scientist from National Institute of Nutrition, to please come onto the stage and help us understand more about importance of biomedical research.
Few slides, is that okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Namaste. Good afternoon. First and foremost, my thanks to All India Radio or Akashawani, Uday Shankar Garu, for organizing this. Well, and also greetings to you all on this day of National Science Day. Well, we all know that the importance of this particular day, that is February 28. I would not repeat all that for want of time. But when I came here, I had two options: just to speak extempo, and also I came prepared with a small presentation. Uday Shankar said both are fine. But after listening to all the distinguished panelists or speakers who are experts in their own domain, even otherwise also, therefore I thought I would not touch upon many other things what they have already touched, but I thought I would just show you a small journey, because I made this presentation yesterday. I was in a school, in a complex of school, where I was interacting with some students. One student of 9th grade asked me a question: "Sir, how do you do research? And if I want to do, how do I do that?" Well, Teja showed that one need not to go through this trajectory what I am going to show. But I thought for those of you who really travel in a format, I would show this one. So, can I have the next one, please? Slide, please. Yeah, I would skip it, but just once again to reiterate the efforts made by Akashawani, that on this day
we celebrate this activity in schools, colleges, universities, even in communities. We go to common people. In addition, it also includes public speeches in radio. That's what I wanted to highlight. That's exactly what Akashvani is doing, but I will not keep on reading what is there. Next one, please. Well, also, just bring into the fold, every year government or science ministry or departments decides a theme. And if you see, I have not put all the themes since the inception of this day, but if you see on 2018 it was science and technology for sustainable future and science in women, and this year it is global science for global well-being. I just want to take 30 seconds of your time on this theme, that all these days, or at least quite a while, wherever we go in forums and debates, most of the time, if not all the times, we used to say or we used to listen that think globally, act locally. Now it looks like that it has slightly changed. Global science for global well-being. There is a lot of meaning here. All these days, we thought think globally means from the point of superpowers or the developed knowledge or from the developed countries, use that knowledge for the underdeveloped areas. But now it looks like that the knowledge that is there all over should be used for the global well-being. I would connect this with my last slide in a different way. Next, please. Well, I decided to speak on the importance of biomedical research, but I only kept one slide on that. I will come to it. All the speakers said, how do we get so many CV Ramans? How do we do all these things? What drives us to do these things, etc., etc. But one important thing is curiosity. Think differently. And then you have to have passion. So as I said, I think Sheshagiri Rao said, as we grow old, our curiosity also slowly fades away. And most of the time we focus on other things, material science, gaining a wealth, getting a better job, okay? All these things will come into picture. But the young age is the one where you have a lot of curiosity, and how do we nurture this? There's one more point I want to highlight here. It's also culturally driven. Whether it's good or bad, whether you like it or not, we by and large do not tend to take risks. That's a problem. And second thing, majority of us, keep those few aside, whether it's Dr. C.V. Raman, Homi Baba, or the Kiran who is sitting here, who started the Sky Routes and all that. But in general, we are afraid of failures. And we want to travel the safe journey and safe route. That's a problem. The question what the madam has asked, this is what we need to tell our people. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of risks. Without risk, nothing can be achieved. That's one message I want to convey here. So, well, at the end of it, most of the time people think that you can always play with the curiosity. Yes, you can do that, but at the end of it, it has to result into something that is useful to the community, something useful to the society or useful to the humankind. That's the importance that we give to the science. Now, at least, in 50 years ago, maybe it was not the case. Today, at least who are all in the organized sector of science and technology, the moment we say, the first question comes, what will you show after this project? That's a question. Therefore, you have to be aware of that fact. Next, please. Can I have the next one, please? Yeah, another thing, I put this slide purposefully for those students who are here, whether college, high school, or even university, focus on the first principles of science. When I say first principles of the science, these principles are derived, are kind of path-breaking, and which have made the things in a different way, but now they cannot be changed anymore unless you challenge with your own idea and innovation. But by and large, they are very, very established science rules. Whether it's a Beers-Lambert's law, Archimedes principle, Pascal principle, you name it. Why I'm saying, most of the inventions, most of the gadgets, most of the technology today, whatever you name it, they have to do something or the other with these first principles of science. That means you need to be very, very thorough with these things. What actually it is, how do you want to make use of it if you want to make some products, unless otherwise you also want to come up with new first principles of science, that's a different thing. Next, please. Can I have the next one, please? So next to 3 to 5 minutes, I just want to show this, presentation for the benefit of the students. Here I just put the title, Concepts and Principles of Research. If you want to call it as a research, you call it, or if you want to call it by any other name, it's fine. But how you travel this journey, it can be different, but by and large, we can tend to go this way. Let's assume that this circle is the knowledge that we have so far. Whatever the knowledge in the universe that we have is within this circle. Now what do you do? Next please. But how do you get to know all these things? Let's say start from your elementary school or high school, as Sheshagir Rao said, or I think Raghuvirji said, even all other speakers said, at a school level, we try to understand some basic things. Let's say if you take maths, you try to understand the additions, multiplications, subtractions, or some equations. Or if it is chemistry and biology, you try to understand the kind of liquids, solids, etc., etc. But as you go along, you also get into advanced level of knowledge. By the time you reach to high school, you would have algebra, trigonometry, or you would have some principles, what I said. But by the time you reach to the next level, that is high school, after the high school, whether it's a college or pre-university, next one please, you try to have some specialization, whether it's biology, chemistry, economics, maths, whatever it is. In that you tend to go more and more deeper. Then by the time you reach to the master's degree, let's say I have a master's degree in biochemistry, madam has a degree in chemistry, or somebody has a degree in food chemistry, etc., etc. By the time you reach or you gain that degree, in principle, you are supposed to have all the knowledge in that domain. Let's say whether it's biochemistry or chemistry. Well, you should or you can have the knowledge in other domains, but at least because you have a master's degree in that particular domain, you should be knowing what has been happened, what is known so far. But next comes, next one. Well, you are done with it. Whatever the knowledge is available, you learned it, whatever the means, whether you gone to the college, university or not, or you read on your own, whatever it is. But now comes that, here is the point where research comes into the picture. Let's say in a usual course of the way, we tend to do research by PhD or something, etc. If you want to do the PhD, now you have already reached the boundary of the knowledge. That means you know what is already known. I repeat this point. Now you want to know something unknown. When you want to know the unknown, you should be knowing the known thoroughly. This is another principle I want to reiterate. Make sure that you know the known thing 100%, then only you can ask the question what is unknown. Otherwise, you may be repeating the same thing, or as Kiran said, somebody is thinking here, somebody must have done something else somewhere else. Next one, please. So by doing that, what do? You ask a question, okay? Whatever the question you ask, beyond the known. Now you try to address that one. That's exactly, if you want to call it as a PhD, you can call it as. If you want to call it as a research, you can call it as. You want to call it as innovation, invention, whatever it is, depending on what you make out of it. That is what is it. Next one, please. But at the end of it, why do we do all these things? Everyone said here that it should solve some problem. It should address the issues of the society. It should help the human welfare. It should help the mankind. Madam said they worked for COVID. I think Jyotirmay is going to talk about the food, how it helps. I am from National Institute of Nutrition. What we do, I would tell you in a couple of words what we do, how we do. That's all that we are going to address the issues. But you have to come to that stage. Next, please. Just I want to encourage you, but if you do this way, science is colorful. Believe it, science is colorful, as Madam rightly said. If you have passion, you love it. Actually, it's a game. I repeat this, it's a game. You should enjoy the game, not the video games or other games. You can also play that, but you should enjoy this. After this, I have a couple of slides to tell you that once you make this as a colorful game or colorful enjoyment, you have to link this to the theme of the Science Day of this year. I'll show you in a minute. Next, please. Well, this actually I wanted to elaborate in 10 minutes, but I am going to put it in 30 seconds. That so far, by this kind of journey or otherwise, what has research, because I am from the biomedical domain, I am telling you what all that our scientists or the inventors or whatever you want to name researchers have achieved. We have got all types of vaccines, starting from measles, whether it's hepatitis B, C, the latest one is COVID. And then we have even the pentavalent. Earlier we used to give vaccines one after the other, now all of them put together. And then we have insulin treatment for diabetes, and we have advanced treatment for all the cancers. I want to tell you, the students or some of the parents who are sitting here, about 20 or 30 years ago, for some forms of cancer, we could not think of the medication. But now we have the medication for all forms of the cancer. You just can manage with it, like you can live like the way that you did not have anything because of this kind of development. Now we have medications for blood pressure, we have medications for you name it, everything. We have new surgical techniques. You don't even have to open your body or heart, anything. We have keyhole surgery, we have name it, anything. It can be done without any pain. Sometimes they don't have to make you anesthetic also. That's the level that we have reached because of this kind of developments that have happened in biomedical research. And then we also have gene therapy, that if somebody has some problem, if that cannot be cured by any other means, if it is particularly solely by a gene, there is a way that that gene can be replaced today. And now we are at the stage of the genome editing stage, or the technology is called CRISPR-Cas. When I say genome editing, it's like the editing your Word document or any other document. You can replace any word, you can replace any sentence, you can replace any letter. That's the technology that is available now. This is what happens when you enjoy the game that I showed in the previous slides. Next, please. But there are many challenges. There are many challenges. It's not that we are done yet with it. So this is another point I think Kiran mentioned. Many people think that if you want to become a scientist in a particular area, you should be only that. Let's say biomedical research, you might be thinking that I should do biology. Not necessarily. Biomedical research can be done by a physician, that is a doctor, a biologist, a chemist. Madam has shown how COVID vaccine can be developed from a chemical Institute of Chemical Technology. Then we have to have the physicist. Physicist means from the physics background. We need to have all the technology or engineering aspects. We should have computer sciences, and you can name anything. Anyone can do any of these areas, provided you have all the multidisciplinary aspects in place. That's the one thing I want to highlight. Next, please. Well, this last slide, what I want to show, I will just skip it, but since I am from the Nutrition Institute, I want to convey this message that many people think that health means just the absence of disease. It is not the case. It is actually all forms of the well-being, whether it's physical, social, economic, social well-being. To reach that, one of the things from National Institute of Nutrition, what we say, you should have the balanced diet, you should have optimum nutrition. I am not going to elaborate all that today, but maybe some other time. So, but to get to that, what we need is the thing that NIN does. And why do we do that? The ancient saying is that we are what we eat. That means by and large, your activities, your productivity, your behavior, in addition to your genetic component, is determined by your food. If I have to put it in a scientific terms, let me tell you how it works. Next, please. To convert this, we are what we eat. Next slide, please. So that food that what you eat, at least it should determine your health or your disease. But then as a biologist, if you study, we always study that it is your DNA, RNA, your proteins, all that determines. That in a simple terminology we say it is a molecular fingerprint, or you can call whatever it is, the machinery, central dogma of life. But then if you want to accept the both, let's see how it works. The food should be acting through that molecular fingerprint to determine all the activities that we do, whether it's health or disease. That is exactly the next click, please. What the field of nutrigenomics talks about it. Yeah. So from the Nutrition Institute, we say that how much carbohydrate should be taken, how much protein should be taken, how much fat should be taken, for what age groups, what is required. Actually, today my director has put a press release or the concept on that, how NIN has developed, for your requirements. Next one, please. Next one, please. Yeah, these are the two things. There are many other things. We analyze all the nutrients in a variety of foods. There is a database in the institute about 600 foods, everything what is there in each of those foods. And at the same time, we also determine what are the nutrient requirements for each one of you, like different categories, how much vitamin A should be taken, etc., etc. These are all the things that, as I said, at the end of the colorful joy, it should be leading to something that is useful to the society. That's what I'm just putting these slides. Next, please. I think I'll skip this one, last one. Well, global well-being means what? Now, all these days, our ancestors or our elders were saying, what is that? Loka samasta sukhino bhavat. That's what is the global well-being. Thank you.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ సార్.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్. చిన్న విన్నపం ఏమిటంటే సమయం కొంచెం తక్కువ ఉంది. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్. సో మిగతా శాస్త్రవేత్తలు కూడా చిన్న రిక్వెస్ట్ అంటే విల్ జస్ట్ లిమిట్ టు కటెల్ టు 8 minutes టైం. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
వన్స్ అగైన్ థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ సార్. డాక్టర్ జి భానుప్రకాష్ రెడ్డి గారు, సైంటిస్ట్, నేషనల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ ఆఫ్ న్యూట్రిషన్. అలాగే ఏఆర్ హైదరాబాద్ యూట్యూబ్ ఛానల్ తిలకిస్తున్న ప్రేక్షకులందరికీ ఒక విన్నపం ఏమిటంటే దయచేసి ఈ ఛానల్ని సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోండి. AIR Hyderabad YouTube channel.
We now have our next guest, Professor C.H. Sasikala Garu, Center for Environment, JNTU. She's going to speak to us about Sukshma Jivulu Manchive. We have an importance of every aspect of every enzyme and everything, and she's going to explain to us that beautifully. Let's welcome her with a big round of applause.
JNTU సెంటర్ ఫర్ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ ప్రొఫెసర్ సిహెచ్ శశికళ గారు స్వాగతం. సూక్ష్మజీవులు మంచివే అనే అంశం గురించి మనకు అవగాహన కల్పిస్తారు.
Okay, I think I am given the honor of finishing my talk in 8 minutes. I would like to do it. And first of all, నేను తెలుగులో మాట్లాడదామని చాలా ప్రయత్నించి ఒక స్క్రిప్ట్ లాగా రాసుకుని కూడా వచ్చాను. సో ఆకాశవాణి శ్రోతలకు అండ్ దెన్ యూట్యూబ్లో ప్రేక్షకులకు అండ్ సర్ప్రైజింగ్ ఐ నెవర్ థాట్ దెర్ విల్ బీ ఆడియన్స్ హియర్. సో ప్రత్యక్షంగా చూస్తున్న వింటున్న ప్రేక్షకులకు అందరికీ నేషనల్ సైన్స్ డే శుభాకాంక్షలు. సో ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ ఐ హ్యావ్ టు థ్యాంక్ ఆకాశవాణి ఫర్ హ్యావింగ్ గివెన్ మీ దిస్ ఆపర్చునిటీ. ఈ అవకాశం నేనేదో రేడియోలో మాత్రం వినబడుతుంది అనుకున్నా, ఇప్పుడు యూట్యూబ్లో ఉండి ఎప్పుడు ఎవరు కావాలన్నా వినొచ్చు. అండ్ ఫర్ ద గ్రేట్ ఆపర్చునిటీ టు ఆకాశవాణి, మిస్టర్ జయశంకర్ గారు, అండ్ మోర్ సో ఫర్ Dr. Narasimharao garu, who has actually recommended me to Akashvani. This has given me a great opportunity to speak about a topic which is very, very dear to my heart. That is, microorganisms are our friends. Sukshma Jeevulu Manchive. Maraka Manchide Laga, Sukshma Jeevulu Manchive. Because of COVID-19 and all those things, and all the advertisements, మనకి టీవీలో, న్యూస్ పేపర్లో, ఆ తర్వాత అన్నిట్లో వచ్చే ప్రతి అడ్వర్టైజ్మెంట్, టూత్పేస్ట్ నుంచి ప్రాబబ్లీ టాయిలెట్ డిటర్జెంట్ దాకా ఎవ్రీథింగ్ టెల్స్ సూక్ష్మ జీవుల్ని చంపేయాలి. ఆల్ మైక్రో ఆర్గానిజమ్స్ మస్ట్ బి gotten rid of. They are also, we are looking at microorganisms like they are demons. They are there to destroy us. They are there to cause us problems. But then my talk today is about clearing this misconception. ఈ అపోహల్ని తొలగించి microorganisms ఊరికే మంచివే కాదు. It is not that microorganisms are good and our friends. We cannot survive without them. Our survival depends on microorganisms. The microorganisms that are there in our gut. The gut microbiota is responsible for several things. Let me give you some numbers to understand their importance. మనం ఏమనుకుంటాము, అవర్ హ్యూమన్ బాడీ ఈజ్ మేడప్ ఆఫ్ హ్యూమన్ సెల్స్. మానవ శరీరంలో మానవ కణాలు ఉంటాయి అనుకుంటాం. బట్ బిలీవ్ మీ, there are 10 times more microbial cells than human cells in our body. 10 times more microbial cells than human cells in our body. And there are 100 times more microbial genes than human genes in our body, which is contributing to what we are. It's not just the genes that we have got from our parents which is responsible for what we are, including the environmental effect, but also the microbiome or the microorganisms that are present in our body are contributing to everything from lifestyle diseases like diabetes? Yes, diabetes, when there is a dysbiosis, or the good microorganisms which should be there in our body gets disturbed due to various, probably our lifestyle choices only, and then the bad bacteria get over the good bacteria that are present in our gut, and then it can result in diabetes too, and then it results in mood swings. It is responsible for even criminal attitude, depression. It can contribute to depression. It can contribute to enhancement of our lifestyle. All these are proven with scientifically conducted multiple studies which were also statistically evaluated. So this is an accepted fact that our gut microbiota contribute to what we are apart from our own genes, etc. And how do we maintain that? Dr. Jayaprakash Reddy was telling that what we eat is actually what we are. What we eat is responsible, also affects what are there in our gut, and that is what influences everything. And most important, I think, the gut microbiota can contribute to obesity also. Many a time we see, somebody who is sitting next to us would have eaten much more than what we have eaten, but then he would be very, very lean, whereas with limited intake. Of course, I don't do that. Also, some people are always obese. Why does it happen? It is because there is an energy balance that is there in our body which is influenced by the microbiota. So whatever goes into our body or whatever goes into fecal material is also contributed by microbiota. There is a specific microorganism called as Akkermansia municiphala, which if you take, which is present in our body, will enable you to lose weight and keeps you this thing. So that takes us to probiotics. You can take live microorganisms, and today there are precision probiotics. If you have diabetes, you take this bacterium. If you have obesity, you take this bacterium, and then your ailment will be cured, or you can do that. And if you go back to this thing, if we have loose motions, what do our ammamalu, maamalu cheppedi enti? Okati majjiga taagandi, and next one is sagubiyam payasam. Majjiga gives the probiotic, the live bacteria, which help in the disruption, whatever dysbiosis has happened, that will be corrected. And second is the prebiotic. The carbohydrates that are present in sagubiyam will help in growth of good microorganisms. That is how we are being treated or get rid of those motions, etc. And then there is what is called as postbiotics. The compounds that are produced by the microorganisms, our idli, those are fermented foods, and there the yeast grows and produces certain compounds which help in our well-being. And so it is not just the human beings, but they are going to have an effect on various activities of human being. I'll give you certain examples, that's all. One is an agriculture. So we speak so much about organic agriculture and those which are free of chemicals and then pesticides, etc. And the solution for it is microorganisms. We have biofertilizers which help in converting 70% of nitrogen in the atmosphere into ammonia, which can be utilized by the plants. We have phosphate solubilizing organisms which will convert insoluble phosphate into soluble phosphate so that the plant root can take it up. And then we have fungi which are associated with the roots, which spread out and then help in taking all the nutrition that is present in the soil. And we have microorganisms which contribute to compost formation, which helps in taking care of waste and also providing good nutrition to the plants. And then energy. We know energy, environment are the most important problems that this thing is facing now. So microorganisms can contribute to energy generation in a very eco-friendly way, which is sustainable, which is renewable, like hydrogen, biogas, and then biodiesel, alcohol, and other thing, and bioelectricity generation by microorganisms. I am not going into details at all. So these contribute. And then, okay, organic we can think, but microorganisms contribute to even metallurgy. So right from finding out where certain metals are present, like gold exploration you can do with microorganisms. You can use microorganisms to extract metals, and you can use microorganisms also to treat these heavy metal contaminated waters and sites. And then you have microorganisms producing bioplastic, polybeta hydroxyalkanoates, which are rhizomaterials, have the properties of plastic, so it can be used as plastic. And I need not emphasize what microorganisms can do for medicine, like producing antibiotics, all your vaccines. And then now you have specific microorganisms to treat cancer. Believe me, specific microorganisms to prevent and also to treat cancer, there are microorganisms being developed. And then food, our idli, dokla, all these are fermented foods. And of course, a South Indian's meal is never complete without perugu, which is because of the contribution of microorganisms. My younger son doesn't like curd, and once when I was forcing him to eat curd, telling about all the benefits, he just made one comment, Amma, perugu, my bacteria ki doddik kada, so how do you eat? I was startled. Yes, it is excretory material, lactic acid, which results in curdling of milk into this. So, so you can, and then the other one which is really troubling all the human beings now is climate change. And microorganisms contribute a lot to mitigate climate change. The carbon dioxide can be absorbed by the photosynthetic bacteria, algae, etc. They can help in taking that. Not only that, while doing it, it can give biocolorants, all the colored bacteria and all the colored algae, and then it can give various compounds like vitamins, cytochromes, etc. And they can also help in production of biofuel while treating wastewater, and contribute to what is called a circular economy, wherein anything that comes into an industry should be completely utilized there and nothing should go out. For all these things, and we have the biorefinery concept, wherein you can use microorganisms to extract different products from wastewater. Take wastewater as a crude oil, and how you get from crude oil, petrol, etc. You can also get different products, right from microorganism to various microbial products like bioplastic and then etc., biocolorants, etc. And also ultimately plant nutrients, everything will be coming. So that is called as the biorefinery concept. So whenever you see any advertisement where all microorganisms are removed, be cautioned, be reminded that they are essential for our survival. Those children who play in soil actually do not get are affected much with asthma. They do not have much problems with all allergies, food allergies. We never hear in India. But if you go to US, all products we have, there is no wheat, there is no milk product, all that. Why? Because they have all allergies, because they are not exposed to good microbiota. And believe me, today Hyderabad is a company in Hyderabad is making, producing, multiplying soil bacteria and exporting it to Malaysia and USA to be included in their food as a probiotic. Soil bacteria are good, play in soil, allow your children to play in soil. You do gardening so that you are exposed to soil microorganisms. You should not do at a place where there is fecal material. But otherwise, soil is good, soil microorganisms are essential. Our gut microbiota is essential. If you do not have gut microbiota, you will fall sick. When you take antibiotics, you get loose motions only because your gut microbiota also dies along with pathogenic bacteria, and that causes these problems. So again, I would like to wind up telling that Sukshma Jeevulu Manchive, microorganisms are our friend. We have to nurture them, and they will do good to us individually as human beings, and also for various activities that are essential for us, including mitigating climate change, etc. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for elaborating the advantages of microorganisms, and thank you so much. Big round of applause for Shashikala, ma'am. I now invite Dr. T. Jyotirmay Garu, who's a senior principal, scientist, and head of CSIR CFTRI Resource Center, and she's going to speak to us about the opportunities in food processing and CFTRI technologies. Let's welcome her with a big round of applause.
మేడం వారి ప్రెజెంటేషన్ వినిపించే ముందు ఇక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి ఆహుతులకి ఒక శుభవార్త ఏమిటంటే నేషనల్ సైన్స్ డే సందర్భంగా ఈ కార్యక్రమం ముగిసిన తర్వాత ఇక్కడ ఉండేటువంటి మ్యూజియం మీరు ఉచితంగా చూడవచ్చు ఈరోజు. కాబట్టి మీరు అవకాశాన్ని వినియోగించుకోండి. డాక్టర్ టి జ్యోతిర్మయ్య గారు, వీరు ప్రిన్సిపల్ సైంటిస్ట్ అండ్ హెడ్ CSIR CFTRI రిసోర్స్ సెంటర్. వీరు ఫుడ్ ప్రాసెసింగ్లో ఉండేటువంటి అవకాశాల గురించి అలాగే CFTRI టెక్నాలజీస్ గురించి మనకు వివరిస్తారు.
గుడ్ ఆఫ్టర్నూన్ ఎవ్రీవన్. సో ఆకాశవాణి ప్రేక్షకులందరికీ, యూట్యూబ్ ద్వారా వీక్షిస్తున్న అందరికీ, మీ అందరికీ, ప్రత్యక్షంగా చూస్తున్న మీ అందరికీ నేషనల్ సైన్స్ డే శుభాకాంక్షలు. సో యాక్చువల్లీ ఫుడ్ ఈజ్ అవర్ బేసిక్ నీడ్. సో వాట్ ఎవర్ లైక్ భాను ప్రకాష్ రెడ్డి గారు సెడ్ ఆల్సో వాట్ వీ ఈట్, వీఆర్ లైక్ వాట్ ఈస్ దాట్. And food is like whatever koti vidyelu kuti korake. So whatever we do, so we'll be doing and we'll be able to whatever, and then very healthy, like for a healthy living, let the food be our medicine, let the medicine should not be our food. So that is what is like a very this one. So actually nowadays all women also are coming into like workspace and all, and lot of lack of time to make lavish preparations at home and all. That's why CFTRI has developed a number of technologies. So whatever you name it, even in the aeroplanes you are getting noodles, instant upma, instant bisi bele bath, everything like is possible, and even you can keep them at room temperature for many months. So 9 months shelf stability and 1 year. So especially fruits and vegetables, they are highly perishable. So you see the tomatoes and mangoes, they are getting rotten, and even at sometimes the price is very less, and after some in the off seasons, so again the price goes up and all that. So that is what where you can process the things and you can use them. So we developed a number of technologies, like we categorize them into bakery products, convenience products, fruit and vegetable products, grain science and technology products, and protein specialty foods. Here I want to mention actually protein is a very important one. We are all eating more of starchy foods. So we all love potato chips, but that is pure starch only. It is nothing to have much of other nutrients. So that is the reason why we developed a number of technologies pertaining to proteins. So pulses, our pulses are a good source of protein, but at the same time even oil seed meals for that matter. So after you expel the oil, so the oil seed meal is again 50% protein, 40% protein, even in our coconut. So after you expel oil, 35% protein is there. So that's why actually our intake should be minimum 0.9 to 1 gram per kg body weight, where actually we are not eating. So milk is a good one, but again 92% is of water only, so we will not be able to get. So that's why you can develop many this one sesame seed cake, oil, groundnut seeds, even sunflower seeds. So all of them we can make into value addition, and all instant, ready to cook, ready to eat, ready to serve. So all categories. And then frozen, nowadays frozen concept also, they are also very good, but frozen should not happen over a long period of time. It should be a instant freezing, so that the microbial spoilage will be less and all. And then high pressure processing. So here actually high pressure, non-thermal, so pressure is implicated for inactivation of the microorganisms and spoilage microorganisms. So I am not talking about, so madam elaborately told, so the useful bacteria should be nurtured, and the spoilage one only we should need to arrest. So that's why thermal processing, high pressure processing. Now vacuum frying is becoming the new concept. So usually our frying 160-180 degrees, where all our vitamins will be lost during frying. Whereas you do a vacuum frying where we are operating only at 95 degrees, so that all flavor will be retained. So our fruits and vegetables, so anything we can make into valuation into this one. and lyophilization, freeze drying and all. So these are all like, for astronauts and all, they have, the DFRL, Defense Food Research Laboratory, which is also present at Mysore. So even our head office is at Mysore. So not only that, we give lot of opportunity for youngsters also, the Jigyasa program. So all students are invited to our school, our institutes, and in your school time itself you will be exposed, so that you will be enthusiastic and you will be taken that profession. Then later also Inspire fellowships, Inspire fellows can come and visit, and Inspire fellowship for doing PhD also. So many opportunities are there, and that too, not only that, the little innovation. So whatever is already available, you don't carry out. So this is already existing. So have some innovation. So like, fortified foods and all are coming up, and all of them. And again, I wanted to inform you all, like whatever you take, it is not the end of it. So even exposure to sunlight also should happen for vitamin D conversion into your body. And then eat all seasonal fruits, seasonal things and all, and even processed things also are equally safe. So don't think that processed food they would have added some preservatives and all. We can offer the technology without preservatives, with preservatives, so everything. So if you have got anything else, so you can always visit our office. So anytime, Monday to Friday, 9:30 to 6. It is adjacent to NGRI metro station. So you are all welcome to our institute. Even we are offering skill training program also for students. So we do very nominal charge, and we inculcate skill so that you can become an entrepreneur. All of you also, I wanted to inform you that you all should not be a job seekers. You should be also a job provider. So that is what entrepreneurs and all you can become. So you can visit our office anytime. Thank you all for visiting this one, and all those who are watching online also. I wish the national science it should be spread across, not only here. So it should be, and it's for a global, like whatever. That's what even our caption is, like CFTR, a global center for food science and technology. So not only for our own this one, but also for all those who are involved, and anybody. I've told food is the basic need. Thank you all.
డాక్టర్ టి జ్యోతిర్మయ్ మ్యామ్, థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. ఇందాక ఒక మాట చెప్పాము, ఉచితంగా మీరు మ్యూజియం తిలకించవచ్చని. మీరు శ్రీకాంత్ గారి నుంచి మీరు పాసెస్ కలెక్ట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. తర్వాత డాక్టర్ డి శ్రీ నగేష్ గారు, ప్రొఫెసర్ ఆఫ్ ప్రాక్టీస్, ఐఐటి మెడ్రాస్. వీరు ఎర్త్క్వేక్ హజార్డ్స్, భూకంపాల గురించి తెలియజేస్తారు. సార్, ఒక విన్నపం, సమయం చాలా తక్కువ ఉంది.
Let's welcome Dr. D. Sri Nagesh Garu, who is a professor of practice from IIT Madras. He's going to speak about earthquake hazards.
Good afternoon. జాతీయ సైన్స్ దినోత్సవ్ పురస్కరించుకుని మీ అందరికీ నా శుభాకాంక్షలు. ఆకాశవాణి శ్రోతలు, యూట్యూబ్లో ప్రేక్షకులు, ఇక్కడున్న అంత స్కూలు, కాలేజు స్టూడెంట్స్కి. టుడే ఐ హర్డ్ ఫ్రమ్ మార్నింగ్ in the first session to the last speaker. So I want to summarize being the last man. I just want to move away from the title which I gave you. I want to speak about the earth because I work on earth science, and it's so important for us to know about our own planet, because we have ruined this planet through global warming and carbon dioxide emissions, which is the causative. Earth is a 4.6 billion year old planet. And if you look at the first single cellular organism which came in, it was 3.6 billion years ago. And that led to the release of oxygen. And the first oxygen which came into the Earth's atmosphere was about 2.6 billion years ago. And how do we know that 2.6 billion years ago that we have got oxygen? The iron ore what you find and what we use now for the steel industry is oxidized around that time, because all the other minerals weren't oxidized before 2.6 billion years ago. So very, very important. And when you look at the geographic map of the world, 70% of the earth is covered with water. And whoever has designed it, he designed it in a particular way because it's a huge carbon sink. And because 1/4 of the carbon dioxide which is generated by us is taken by the oceans, which is turning into acidic. The worst part which has happened in the last 200 years, if you see, from 280 parts per million of carbon dioxide, there's a 47% increase which has happened. And that has reached to almost all 412 parts per million carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And in the last, from this beginning, this millennium, it is about 11% of the carbon dioxide which has gone up. You can imagine that 280 parts per million to 412 parts per million, this is one of the real things which most of the earth scientists as well as the environmentalists are all concerned about. What is very important, I would say, if the next 100 million years, if we switch off the carbon dioxide emissions, the earth cannot come back to its original state. We have almost all perturbed the climate system which is existing. So keeping this in mind, very importantly, the second speaker who spoke today, the importance of the biota, which is the carbon sink. We all think it's the tropical forests, rainforests, which are the carbon sink, but it's not. Now it's being found even in the higher latitudes that the trees, because it's taking a long time for them to grow, that the carbon sink, they're also acting as a carbon sink. But whatever the biota which we have, whatever the oceans we have outpaced in the release of the carbon emissions. And this is a very, very bad thing which is happening. And already we see global warming, and the temperatures have increased by 0.8 degrees to 1 degree centigrade in the last 100 years. And this is going to affect the entire system of right from agriculture to the sustenance and the sustainability of the living resources on this earth. So what I intend saying at the end of the day is, I'm not saying that there's a doomsday. Science and technology put together for proper uses, really we can see that whatever we have done, we can stop the damage at this level. And we can see that all you youngsters who are there can sustain and have a better life in future. And what I request you all is, on this Science Day when you go back, it's your duty not only to plant one sapling in your house, at least 10 other saplings in your locality, because you would be doing a great favor, not only to you, but for the future generations. So with these few words, I would like to end, and wishing you all youngsters that a few of you come into the mainstream of science, because science is so important for all of us. Thank you very much.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ సార్. అలాగే నిజానికి సమయాభావం వల్ల వారికి ఇక్కడ ప్రజెంటేషన్ ఇచ్చేటువంటి అవకాశం లభించలేదు, కానీ సిఎల్ నరసింహారావు గారు ఇక్కడ విచ్చేశారు. ఏఎస్టీసీ అకాడమీ ఫర్ సైన్స్ టెక్నాలజీ అండ్ కమ్యూనికేషన్ హైదరాబాద్ వారికి ఆకాశవాణి తరఫున స్వాగతం పలుకుతున్నాం. అలాగే కార్యక్రమం చివరి అంకంలో ఉన్నాము. వందన సమర్పణ గావించవలసిందిగా హైదరాబాద్ ఆకాశవాణి ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ శ్రీమతి కె లహరి గారిని ఆహ్వానిస్తున్నాను.
On behalf of All India Radio Hyderabad, thank you for being a part of this wonderful celebration entitled Inspire on the occasion of National Science Day. We thank all the dignitaries who added value with their knowledge. We thank all the staff of All India Radio, print, electronic media, and all the students and teachers present here. Thank you, one and all.
నేషనల్ సైన్స్ డే సందర్భంగా ఇన్స్పైర్ అనేటువంటి నినాదంతో ఆకాశవాణి ఇక్కడ బిర్లా సైన్స్ సెంటర్లో భాస్కర్ ఇండోర్ ఆడిటోరియంలో నిర్వహించినటువంటి ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి విచ్చేసినటువంటి విశిష్ట అతిథులందరికీ కూడా ధన్యవాదాలు. అలాగే ఆహుతులందరికీ కూడా మరోసారి ధన్యవాదాలు. అలాగే ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని భిన్న వేదికల మీద చూసినటువంటి వింటున్నటువంటి మా అతిథులందరికీ, అలాగే శ్రోతలకు, ప్రేక్షకులకు అందరికీ కూడా ధన్యవాదాలు.
We thank all the dignitaries and our viewers, and a big round of applause to everybody and yourself as well to be a part of this wonderful and lovely celebration. So let us again remember the theme of this year for National Science Day, that is Global Science for Global Well-Being. And I would like to quote Well, the science of today is the technology of tomorrow. So hence, let us strive to be better students, to learn and understand science in a much more wonderful way. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. On behalf of All India Radio, we thank you for participating in the celebration of National Science Day. Thank you. Jai Hind.